Welcome to Big Ten Saturday Night, presented by Discover. Here at the Big House in Ann Arbor, a beautiful night for some football, and the defending national champions begin that title defense here at home in front of a sold-out crowd, taking on one of the tougher group of 5 schools in the country, Fresno State. And here come the defending champion Wolverines. What a scene it should be here at Michigan Stadium. Sharon Moore, the first-year full-time head coach, taking over for Jim Harbaugh, off to the NFL, and we welcome you in. Big Ten Saturday night, week 1, glad to be back. Football is very much back. No Eagle, our national champion, Todd Blackledge, Catherine Tappan on the sideline. Glad to have you along for the ride, and what a ride it should be for Michigan. Coming off the national championship season, 15-0 last year. You lose 13 players to the NFL draft. You lose your head coach, your defensive coordinator. Your offensive coordinator is elevated to the head coach. So many questions are somewhat answered, but the one that hadn't been answered all offseason, who's playing quarterback for this team?
Yeah, it's been a mystery. It's been a battle that raged through the spring and summer. Came down to 2 guys. Davis Warren, a senior, Alex Orji, a junior. Sharon Moore told us they will both play tonight, but the guy we're going to see first is Davis Warren. It's a great story. He's more the natural thrower, but we will see both because Alex Orji is a dynamic athlete, and Kurt Campbell, their offensive coordinator, says he's one of our best 11 players on offense, so we have to find a way to get him on the field.
On the flip side for Fresno State, this is a team that's won 10, 10, and 9 games their last 3 years. There's no question who their quarterback is.
Yeah, Mikey Keene is a fun guy to watch. He plays with swagger. He's got arm talent. He's just short, but he gives them a fighting chance today with Fresno State if he's on his game. His last time out, 380 yards and 3 touchdowns in a bowl game, but that was against New Mexico State, not this Michigan defense.
Battle of veteran starter and a newbie on the other side. Malik Sherrod, a star for Fresno. Will Johnson and Donovan Edwards leading the way for the Wolverines as they begin their title defense next.
The following is a presentation of the Big Ten Conference.
Expecting nearly 110,000 here in Ann Arbor. A beautiful night for some football on this week 1 Saturday night. We send it down to the 3rd member of our crew, Catherine Tappan.
Noah, thank you very much. Well, both head coaches in this matchup tonight bring a very unique story for Tim Skipper. He was named the interim head coach at his alma mater after Jeff Tedford stepped down in July due to health-related concerns. Now, Tedford told me this week he's doing great health-wise. He shared a really interesting story from opening weekend in 2017. The Bulldogs were set to face Alabama, a national championship contender, and his players were saying, "Coach, why do we have to play them?" Well, over the next 5 seasons as head coach, Tedford put an emphasis on rebuilding that confidence of his players, and he told me this past spring, the guys were excited. They were pounding on the table and pumped for the opportunity to be the only team who gets to open their season against the national champions, the anyone, anywhere, anytime mentality. And for Michigan, Sharon Moore takes over as head coach for the departed Jim Harbaugh. With a new position and reloaded roster, Moore said this season is about finding his own routine, making sure everything is aligned, and paying a close attention down to the smallest details of the program, Noah.
And KT, Tim Skipper said to us, Sharon Moore is where I want to be. I'm in the position he was last year as an interim head coach. I want the long-term deal. Moore signed a 5-year contract as the head man here in Ann Arbor.
Well, the resume starts tonight for Tim Skipper, right? I mean, this is a heck of a test for his ball club.
And the way they view it, a heck of an opportunity. Michigan won the toss. They elected to defer. They'll take it in the second half. Doman is going to send it away, and we are underway. The defending champions looking to repeat and start that title defense here. Number 9 in the country on the defensive end. And a look at the starting lineups on this Fresno State offense delivered by Papa John's. It really starts at that quarterback spot with Mikey Keene, but you look in the backfield and Malik Sherrod is a difference maker.
He really is. I mean, both as a runner and a receiver. And Wink Martindale, the new defensive coordinator for Michigan, was very clear in saying, hey, he's their best football player. He's a concern coming into this ball game, and we did hear that he has a little bit of an ankle, and ironically, he's not starting this first possession for the Fresno State offense.
They do have good depth in that backfield. Elijah Gilliam, the senior, is going to be starting on this first play. Out of the pistol, the give, and not a whole lot of running room. It is going to be tough to run on the interior of this defensive front for Michigan, with Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham leading the way. But if anybody has the experience to do it, it's Mikey Keene. He started all last year, but this was the first real offseason that he wasn't either in a quarterback competition or the backup coming into the season.
Yeah, so he really concentrated on his leadership and his preparation. Hey, he's talented. He's got to really get rid of the ball quickly tonight.
Get it to the outside. It's Jalen Moss slipping through. He gets leveled. Nice hit by Makari Page, the captain on this defensive backfield.
You know, everybody talks about the guys Michigan lost and the guys that got drafted, but the guys that are playing now are veteran guys, have played a lot of ball in backup role.
3rd down and 5. Fresno State will go quick. No need to huddle. Certainly now with the green dot communication, direct coach to helmet, and the quarterbacks all wearing it across the country for the first time in college football. Keene has it on 3rd down. Over the middle. It's tipped and intercepted. Taken away by Zeke Berry. Michigan did this better than anybody in the country last year. And on the 3rd play of the season, the defending champs get one back.
Well, we mentioned that Mikey Keene has great arm talent, but he's short. He's listed at 5'11". And Kenneth Grant is a big man and got a hand up and forced a high throw. Here's Kenneth Grant, 78. Watch him get a hand up. The ball sails a little bit off the hands of his receiver, and Zeke Berry comes down with it. The route was open, the throw was high, and the tip resulted in an interception.
And Todd, we have heard nothing but outstanding things about Zeke Berry, the patience that he's exhibited to eventually get this spot. And now the first look at Davis Warren at quarterback with Donovan Edwards, one of the best backs in the country, in the backfield with him. An excellent starting field position for this Michigan offense. Running behind a brand new offensive line, Edwards busted to the outside, and he's tripped up from behind by Lockridge. A look at the starting lineups delivered by Papa John's. You mentioned it. They lost a lot, did Michigan, certainly on this offensive end, but they still returned so much talent, and it's headlined by number 18, Colston Loveland.
Yeah, I mean, he's the only listed returning starter, but a guy like Donovan Edwards, who just carried it on 1st down, he's had a significant role in this offense since his freshman year. He's just the feature guy listed as the starter now. The only inexperienced position anywhere on this team is quarterback, offensively.
We'll see how Warren does his first throw of the season. Slings it, caught. Who else? Loveland, a cheat code for a 1st down in the red zone.
Well, he was 0 for 5 throwing it last year, had a really good spring game, and kind of separated himself in this quarterback battle down the stretch. Has real arm talent. When I talked to Kurt Campbell, he said, look, JJ was a 1st-round draft pick, had an incredible year last year. Davis Warren may not be as accurate as him right now, but his arm talent is equal to JJ McCarthy. They trained with the same quarterback coach out in California for many years, and that's a good way to start the game for Davis Warren.
Fresh set of downs. Samaj Morgan on the jet sweep. This is where he's dangerous with the ball in his hands up the field. And a nice gain as he's shoved out of bounds just shy of a 1st down. But a big block by Loveland, and Davis finally gets to the speedy wideout.
Yeah, everybody talks about Colston Loveland as a receiver, but he loves to block. He loves the physical aspect of the game. He gets a block on Braca, one of the safeties. The 2 best tacklers on this Fresno State defense are the 2 safeties, Cameron Braca and Dean Clark, and that time Braca ended up on his back.
Samaj Morgan now wearing that number 0, said he wants to start something with that number after Mikey Sainristil really made it famous here in Ann Arbor the last couple of seasons. Bredesen the motion man on 2nd and 1, and this play is blown dead. First time we'll hear from Jeff Servinsky, our referee tonight. Or will we?
Definitely against Michigan before the snap. Unless there was...
And they're going to go back, it looks like, and look at targeting potentially on that last hit at the end of the play. Let's take another look. This was the run by Morgan, who stands at just 5'10", 174. He was trying to get towards the sideline. Let's bring in Terry McCauley, our rules analyst. Terry, what do you see here on Jaden Davis lowering the head?
Helmet. He certainly lowers and leads with the crown, Noah. And the question is it forcible contact with the crown? And looking at all our angles, it appears that it is to me. Remember, that crown is the 6-inch radius from the top of the helmet, and it looks like he hits him with the very top of the helmet. And it certainly does appear to be targeting at this point.
Terry, my question is, if Morgan doesn't go low at the point of contact, is it still going to end up as targeting?
It doesn't matter what the offensive player does. The onus is on the defensive player not to lower his head and lead with the crown.
We are having trouble with Jeff Cervinsky's microphone, but they did call that as targeting. So Jaden Davis is going to be expunged from this game just 3 minutes in, a couple plays in.
Boy, you hate to see that. I mean, Terry's right. That's the rule. You can't lead with the crown. Clearly, it's a penalty. But so early in the ball game, it's such a big opportunity. You just hate to see a guy out of the game so quick.
Yeah, Terry, can we just go through the crown of the helmet here, because it is somewhat subjective and it's hard on a case-by-case basis. Just take us through what you're looking for.
It is, and this is a great graphic.
All right, we'll get the explanation from Terry momentarily, but Michigan's looking to go quick here. Handoff, Edwards up the gut, and he's wrapped up right at the line of scrimmage. All right, let's go back to Terry. All right, finish your thought here.
Yeah, no,
it's a little chaotic in this first quarter.
Sure, Noah. Yeah, if he lowers his head and leads with the crown, and then he makes forcible contact, which he clearly does. Our graphics is terrific. That 6-inch radius is what they're looking for. And if that forcible contact is with that area of the helmet, it's a targeting foul, and they correctly called it on this play.
All right, Terry, thank you. Getting you some work early. Meanwhile, speaking of, we expected to see both quarterbacks. We already have. Alex Orji taking his first snap, and this is where he thrives, running the football on 2nd and goal. Bredesen, the motion man. Orji's going to look to throw instead. Dump it down. Edwards wide open. Touchdown, Michigan.
Everybody in the stadium and everybody on the Fresno State sideline is thinking, of course this is going to be a run by Alex Orji.
Instead, it's his first career touchdown pass.
They had strength to the outside. Bredesen in motion. And this is pass all the way and a nice, easy throw to Donovan Edwards, who is an excellent receiver out of the backfield.
So Michigan cashes in on the interception from Berry. Now Dominic Zavada, the transfer from Arkansas State, adds the extra point. First receiving touchdown of the season, but the 4th of the career for Donovan Edwards. It all started off the tip drill. Berry brings it in, and Orji finishes it off. Michigan rolling in their first game after the national championship, up 7-0 early. A look at the United Cam here in Ann Arbor, a packed house at the big house. As you'd expect, a celebration of what the team did last year, but these players have talked about it. It's time to turn a new page and make Team 145 in the 145th year of Michigan football stand out in their own right. Sharon Moore, in his first game as the full-time head coach, gets the interception on the defensive side, then the offense drives down 5 plays, 31 yards in just under 3 minutes. Warren takes the first 4 snaps, Orji takes the final, and throws the touchdown to Donovan Edwards.
I'm going to go back to the interception, the first possession. Now, the 2 interior defensive linemen, Mason Graham right here, Kenneth Grant, 2 of the best, if not the best in the country. And Kenneth Grant hits 2 of their pillars, block destruction and ball disruption. He did both of them. He forced the high throw with his hand, and it ended up in an interception. But those 2 guys are a nightmare for any offensive line because they are equally good against the run or the pass.
Sharon Moore said that against the pass, they're going to win their matchups 50% of the time, and he might be underselling it. First touch from Malik Sherrod, working through the ankle injury, ducks through for a gain of 2, picked up by Will Johnson, who makes the tackle. We look at the defense for this Michigan side. We talk about what they lost, but let's again go back to what they still have here. It's a lot of talent.
It certainly is. I mean, first round capabilities by Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, Will Johnson. Those are all first-round type guys.
And Wink Martindale, the defensive coordinator, his first year with the program. There's a catch and a completion, but not much room to work with for Magdalena. You know, Wink Martindale, you might be saying, hey, you lose your defensive coordinator and Jesse Minter, it's going to be different. Not really. This is, as he would describe it, the OG of this system. He created this defense. The other two in the last two that inhibited this position just molded it for themselves.
Yeah, Mike McDonald and Jesse Minter both were under his tutelage on the Ravens staff.
3rd down and 4 for Fresno State. Rush coming from Michigan. Keene gets rid of it. Oh, what a catch! Moss up the field, slips through to midfield. Big time conversion of 19 yards.
Now, when I said that Mikey Keene's got swagger, remember, he's coming off an interception, and he is challenging the best corner on this team in Will Johnson. It's a long throw, an out route from the right hash, and he delivers a strike.
Play action pass, plenty of time. Keene is going to air it out downfield. Nearly picked, nobody home. That was dangerous in the direction of Makari Page.
Yeah, tried to go back to his go-to guy, Jalen Moss, who really came on in the second half of last season as a freshman. But Keene very lucky that that wasn't his second interception of the game, because the ball really hung up in the air.
Todd, it feels like this game, and this is when you talk to either team, they're going to tell you this, but certainly any Michigan game is going to be won in the trenches. And this is an offensive line for Fresno State that certainly has experience, not just in the Mountain West, but going last year to start their season at Purdue. Will Johnson all over the field, got in the backfield, and Malik Sherrod had nowhere to run.
That was a short split by the receiver, Delana, and that enabled Will Johnson, who's right here, to just come quickly. And he is a guy who likes the physical part of the game. And you could see the right guard, Makari, just could not get him. He was in the backfield so quickly.
So the promising drive here, now a 3rd down and 9. And this is where 55 and 78 in the middle up front are so dangerous. Keene looking to throw, feeling the pressure, steps up, now he goes down. Josiah Stewart coming from the edge and dumping the QB.
Well, it's both edge rushers. We talk about the tackles. These edge rushers are NFL guys too. It starts with Derek Moore. He forces it, and then Josiah Stewart finishes it.
It's a loss of 9. These are two guys that maybe, again, weren't starters, but put up big numbers last year for a national championship team.
Yeah, combined for 14.5 tackles for loss and 10.5 sacks, and neither started a single game.
So here is the true freshman punter, Clay Lawrence, 22 years old, playing in his first ever organized football game, and Morgan gets chopped down to the 25-yard line. That's where this Michigan offense will start. Lawrence gets a good one away and flips the field for the Bulldogs early in the first. Well, you've got to protect this big house and plenty to fill. Last season, returned 16 players with at least 5 starts, was tied for the second most in the conference. Now, post-2023, you get 13 players drafted in the NFL, which was the most by any school this season. You also lose Jim Harbaugh and Jesse Minter. They both go to the Chargers as the head coach and defensive coordinator. 7 total coaches overall. Not a single coach on this roster with the same position that they had last year. 6 players with at least 5 starts, which is tied for the 6th fewest in FBS this year. And we get to the big house in the middle of the street.
Oh, go ahead.
107,601 capacity. It's the largest stadium in the Western Hemisphere. Fresno, just to give you some perspective, they play at Valley Children's Stadium, holds 40,727. Warren stays in there. First touch for Mullings. And Mullings pushing forward, gains 8.
I'll tell you, I saw him on the field before the game, and he looks great. I mean, he's always been big. You know, he started out his career as a linebacker, and then he moved to back, and he was kind of more of a fullback. But he has kind of leaned out a little bit, but he's still a powerful runner who can go. Nice change of pace for Donovan Edwards.
Edwards, who can break at any time, and Mullings has talked about that, the difference in style between the two and how that keeps defenses on their heels a little bit. Right back to him. Mullings is going to get that first down. Charge forward to the 40.
The identity of this Michigan team the last 3 years and their great success has been unquestionably their offensive line. That has set the tone and the tempo for the whole team. All 5 starters from last year are gone. They're all on an NFL roster right now, and it's a whole new group, but it's a good-looking group that is going to get better and better as the season goes on.
Sharon Moore, the former offensive line coach here, played offensive line in college at Oklahoma. Warren, swing it, Morgan. Not a whole lot of room to work with. They'll get back to the line of scrimmage. You just take a look at the names from this offensive line. Henderson, Keegan, Nugent, Zinter, and Barnhart. You mentioned some of them are on practice squads, but all 5 are right now on some form of an NFL roster.
And so the guys they have playing now played a lot of snaps. I mean, Miles Hinton, the starting left tackle, was a starter until he got hurt. They brought in a new left guard from the transfer portal, Josh Preeb from Northwestern, 29 starts as a Wildcat. So they're not young freshmen playing, they're experienced veteran guys.
Pitch it, Mullings, good blocking in front. You saw that boom late by Hinton, but excellent pursuit from Nomura along with Aguina.
Well, it's easy to recognize Nomura, right? The long hair. Troy Polamalu. But he likes to run and hit. Transferred from USC, was there for 3 years, played in 33 games as a Trojan. Played through injuries last year, but he got elected captain this year, and they're expecting big things out of him at that will linebacker spot.
Here's the first spot now for Davis Warren, a 3rd down and 10, play clock dwindling down.
Loveland is in the slot at the top of the screen.
Instead, screen pass. And not a whole lot for Tyler Morris as he's surrounded quickly, gains 3, but sets up 4th down and a likely punt for Michigan.
Another nice play by Nomura. I mean, he didn't get the tackle, but he slowed the play down. He was the first guy there and slowed up the receiver. They tried to get the lead block by Colston Loveland, which they got, but Nomura was there to slow him down and ultimately get him to the ground.
Jalen Moss back deep to return from Doman. Coming back as the puncher. They've got a lot of confidence in what he can provide to this special teams unit. Fair catch called for and made at the 20. So a long field for Fresno State, but their defense gets the stop. Just over 5 minutes to play in the first. And the Bulldogs looking to retort.
Back here at Michigan Stadium, the Wolverines up 7-0. And Noah, you mentioned earlier one of college football's new rules this season is that option of coach-to-player communication through the player's helmet. 1 player on the field at a time on offense, 1 on defense with a designated green dot on the helmet. Now, communication will be turned off with 15 seconds remaining on the play clock or when the ball is snapped, whichever comes first. Fresno State quarterback Mikey Keene said there was a bit of an adjustment period learning how to listen while calling the plays, but he said teams can use it to their advantage and it speeds up the process of play calling for the quarterback. And for Michigan, head coach Sharon Moore said it's been a smooth transition for players and coaches, guys.
Well, Kate, so you see that C to P on the back of the helmet, coach to player, but not everybody is using it. We've seen throughout the day so far, week 1 of college football, a lot of teams still looking for signals.
Well, when I talked to Pat McCann, the offensive coordinator for Fresno this week, he said, you know, we're trying to find the balance. We're pretty comfortable with our system when we want to go fast, and sometimes there's a risk of saying too much or talking too much. So teams are finding a balance. Now, the one team that should be really comfortable is Michigan, because Wink Martindale came from the NFL. He's been used to using this, so this is nothing new for him in terms of communicating with his leader.
It is Ernest Hausman who's got it on the defensive end. Nice quick catch, sharp. One of the 2 FCS transfers, this one from Missouri State, who had a big year last year, an FCS All-American. Takes it for a couple and makes it 2nd and short.
Now, they're very pleased with what they were able to do in the portal. They're comfortable with who they have outside in Delina and Jalen Moss, and then they went and got these 2 guys that played at the FCS level, but they were both 1,000-yard receivers, and they feel like they've really fortified themselves at that position.
Sharp, the motion man on 2nd down and 3. Keene, happy feet, lobs it up. Oh, that is tipped away by Johnson. It is dangerous to test his side of the field.
Well, he went after him once, and Will Johnson went for the pick and missed, and it was a completion. That time, the ball came out pretty late, and Will Johnson was ready for it. It's zone coverage. It's not man, so there's an underneath coverage as well. And again, the ball sailed a little bit on Mikey Keene. Just not a lot of margin for error against this Michigan defense.
Third and 3, Keene. Gilliam knocked backward Immediate hit by Jair Hill, and Michigan gets the 3 and out.
Well, there was great pressure on the inside that forced a quick throw. And then Hill is right there to make the hit. Didn't get credit for the tackle, but slowed the ball carrier at the point of the catch, well short of the first down. Good pressure by Jimmy Rolder, number 30, that forced the quick throw.
So the second punt of the day for Clay Lawrence from the Perth area of Australia. Part of that Pro Kick Australia. It's going to be Tyler Morris looking to return it. Finding a seam. Morris across midfield. Bounces off of one and a second. Morris trying to set up his blocking and then ushered out of bounds shy of the 40. Nice return by Morris after a decent enough punt there from Lawrence. 52 on the boot, and good field position for Michigan, up 7-0. Big Ten Saturday Night is brought to you by Genesis Motor America. Learn more at genesis.com. By TikTok, get into it on TikTok. And by Xfinity, stream sports with Xfinity because it's only live once. Well, business was certainly finished last year for a 15-0 Wolverine team, winning a national championship for the first time since '97. And honorary captains today. Jim Harbaugh couldn't be here, but his parents certainly could. Yeah. Jack and Jackie Harbaugh back in the building.
Well, they had a good run here with their son. Wink Martindale, defensive coordinator, coached for Jack at Western Kentucky. They won a national championship together there in the early 2000s.
Warren airing it out on first down. It's intercepted, taken away by Cam Lockridge. Lockridge, good blocking. Edwards couldn't get to him, and finally he is dumped. Josh Preem, 35-yard return, and the first mistake in the first start for Warren.
Well, the mistake was the ball's underthrown. I mean, his receiver has separation. Frederick Moore is open. Right now, he's open. If the ball is thrown deep enough, he can run under it, but it's underthrown, and Lockridge is able to close the gap and come away with the pick. Great play on the ball by Lockridge, and a huge turnover for the Fresno State defense. But if that ball's thrown deeper into the end zone, it's probably a touchdown.
Well, Fresno State head coach Tim Skipper said they need to adjust series by series. Forget halftime, forget quarters. They said every series we need to make adjustments against this team. Let's see how they do here. Get it on the ground. Sherrod wiggles through and is crunched between Johnson and Page.
Well, you know Malik Sherrod is a tough guy trying to play. I mean, he's got a little bit of an ankle he's battling through. He didn't start the game. And Cam Lockridge just came away with a huge play for this Fresno State defense. Now, this is a defense last year that had a bunch of interceptions themselves. Lockridge only played 4 games and missed the rest with a chest injury. Good to have him back for Tim Skipper's team.
Sherrod stays in there on second down and 7. Pitch it. Sherrod, open space. Sherrod makes a cut, and he's got a first down. Nice run up the gut. Johnson somewhat tripped him up, but Sherrod showing off a little bit of his skill.
Well, watch the physicality of this Fresno State offensive line. Their leader is their center, Mose Bavajo. He started, this is his 43rd consecutive start. He was the right guard last year. He moved to center. He's the leader, the communicator, and they got a great push on the inside that time.
He has said he's loved the move to center because it puts all the weight on his shoulders, and it's all a pride thing for him. Pitch it, Sherrod, no running room. Stopped at the line.
Runs like that are going to be difficult against this defense because they are fast. I mean, both these edge rushers can go. The middle linebacker, the new inside linebacker, Jayshawn Barham, who they got from Maryland through the portal, can really fly sideline to sideline. So those kind of runs are not going to make a lot of noise against this Michigan defense.
Jerome Moore called Barham the best inside linebacker Michigan has had in Moore's time here, which is saying a lot considering the talent they have had. Keene on 2nd and 9, deep drop, lofts it over the middle, over the top, and incomplete. Moss, the closest receiver there, but he was blanketed by Wesley Walker down the field. You see Jayshawn Barham. Time now for a look at the transfer portal, brought to you by TikTok. You mentioned Preeb on the offensive side. These are two massive additions to a team already with a lot of talent.
And they've done a good job of that the last few years of just, you know, in very particular situations where there's a need going out and not just getting a veteran guy, but a quality veteran guy. And they got one on both sides of the ball in those two. And the guy who just broke up that pass, Wesley Walker, a transfer from Tennessee as well.
3rd and 9. Keene gets rid of it quickly and a little too tall for Cameron Beecham.
Mikey Keene needs to settle down a little bit. His feet were a little too active on the last couple throws. I know Michigan can bring pressure, but he's kind of retreating a little too much as he's throwing, and he's losing some of his accuracy. This is a guy who completed almost 70% of his passes on the season last year. Again, he won't see a defense this caliber throughout the rest of his year, but he still has to kind of set his feet and deliver the football.
So they can't cash in off the interception from Lockridge. Now Lawrence with his 3rd punt of the night.
Now you just want to try to flip the field if you're Fresno State, which they're able to do.
Get it to about the 12, and that's where this Michigan offense will start officially at the 13. NFL season kicks off Thursday. Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs take on the Ravens on NBC and Peacock. Then on Friday, the Packers take on the Eagles live from Sao Paulo, Brazil, exclusively on Peacock.
That'll be fun doing that game. And then, of course, Sunday night, the Rams and the Detroit Lions. And boy, you know, flying into Detroit, that city is on fire about the Detroit Lions. And Aiden Hutchinson, a former Michigan Wolverine, really a lot of players credit him and the team meeting that he called with that caused and created the turnaround in culture here at Michigan after the 2020 season.
Morris, the motion man, handoff. Edwards plunges forward across the 15 and picks up 4. Well, Aiden Hutchinson, that is one heck of a jersey right there.
I like that.
You know, Hutchinson talked about how much of an influence Ben Herbert was, the strength coach here at Michigan, who's now off to the Chargers. But we talked to Sharon Moore about the culture that was instilled and the toughness that was brought. That's a carryover. You look at the weight room right now, it's still meticulous the way that Herbert liked it. And it feels like these players have taken that and continued, especially those that were here last year, in filling that with the newbies. 2nd down and 6. Warren to the outside. Caught Loveland. His 2nd catch of the day. It's going to be about a half-yard shy of the 1st down.
I like the call by Kirk Campbell. Your quarterback throws an interception. You come back, you give him a safe throw to a big target in Colston Loveland and kind of get his rhythm back and bring up a 3rd and short.
Don't have to snap it here. Looks like they're taking their time. Davis Warren, what a story. Leukemia in high school. Didn't get recruited as a result. Didn't get to play very much in his high school career. Walked on in here at Michigan. And now starting his first career game as the defending national champions, has his team up 7-0 through 1. First 15 minutes in the books. Michigan with a couple of miscues. Same with Fresno State. But both these teams battling in their season opener. And it's the Wolverines in front of their hometown fans with a 7-zip lead through 1. Aerial coverage brought to you by Ford. Well, 47 days ago, Tim Skipper took over as interim head coach with Jeff Tedford stepping down with health issues. And in 47 days, he has continued what Tedford had continued, which many others have continued, but it started with Jim Sweeney and then Pat Hill, then Tedford, and now with Skipper. Anybody, anytime, anywhere. That is the phrase that we hear around this Fresno State program, and they've embodied that. 4-4 record against AP top 25 ranked schools since 2017. However, all time against AP top 10 opponents, Fresno State is just 1-14. Beat number 10 Oregon State in September of 2001 with David Carr at quarterback. This is an opportunity, and you mentioned it, for Tim Skipper. This is a massive opportunity at that.
Yeah, and look, it's the end of the first quarter, and it's 7-0. I mean, if you're Tim Skipper, you're happy with where your ball club is right now. They're not intimidated. They're not overwhelmed. And they're right in the thing.
Power football on 3rd and inches. Mullings the back. Give it to him. Oh, he didn't get there.
No, he did not.
The penetration from Fresno State, and it's 4th down. And how impressive is that? And that's exactly what Tim Skipper does, the energy he provides his players.
Right there, right over the center. The center, who's a new starter this year, just got pushed back into the backfield. It was Ezra Christensen, number 99, who pushed the new center, Dominic Jadis, right back into the backfield and forced the loss of yardage play. Not only did they stop him, they stopped him for a loss of yards. Great play on the inside by Christensen.
It is not easy to move this offensive line, even though it is a brand new look. Todd mentioned it. This is a talented group. Doman's going to have to send it away on 4th down. Fair catch called for and just made by Moss, shy of the 40. Well, Tim Skipper played at Fresno State, from New Orleans originally. Look at the measurables. 5'7", 200 pounds. And what did he do at linebacker? 418 career tackles, second most in school history, 4.5 career sacks, 36 tackles for losses. And his reaction should tell you all you need to know. This is what the players love about Tim Skipper.
Energy and juice. You know, I mean, Jeff Tedford is a great football coach.
Yes.
And we hope he's doing well and feeling good. But Tim Skipper has brought his own personality, which is very energetic, to the head coach.
Keene over the middle. It's Moss for the 1st down.
Remember when we talked about Fresno State flipping the field? They didn't score, they had to punt, but they were able to punt Michigan deep. Then they get the stop there on 3rd down, and all of a sudden, great field position now for Mikey Keene in this offense. Important to come away with some points on this drive.
Right now, Will Johnson not on the field for Michigan, over on the sideline. So a little bit more breathing room potentially to throw. Instead, a run, and not much there as Gilliam is spun down by Wesley Walker.
Again, this team is very difficult to run on because of their defensive interior, as we see Will Johnson on the sideline. But you can't just be pass happy. Even though this is a team that was top 25 in pass offense last year at 282 yards per game, you've got to keep a defense like this honest, and you can't completely abandon your run game, even if you have these 0-yard gains or negative plays.
The talented freshman Bryson Donaldson is the running back. Instead, try to swing it to the outside, and that is probably better that it was incomplete. Amir Hall was deep, getting to the tight end, bounced.
But again, another high throw by Mikey Keene. And really not pressure, he's just not quite on it right now. 6 for 12 in the ball game so far. And again, he was a 67% completion guy last year, so important for him to settle down on this big 3rd down and 10 play.
Let's not forget, this is the biggest environment he's played in. Played at Raymond James Stadium a couple years back with UCF. It's about 70,000. This is an additional 40,000 fans in here for a 3rd down and 10 to the outside, incomplete, but a penalty is down. Beecham was the intended target. Another high throw from Keene.
Holding. Offense number 76. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
Great to hear Jeff Cervinsky's voice. And Kingsley Ugu was called for the penalty, so declined. 4th and long and another punt for the Bulldogs. We have seen a shift in the returners. Samaj Morgan took the 1st and the 3rd. Morris had a nice return on the 2nd punt. Now he's back out there for the 4th of the day for this 22-year-old true freshman, Clay Lawrence.
I don't want to jinx him, but he's done pretty good so far, catching the ball and then getting it off.
The broadcaster's jinx doesn't exist. And that was a nice little fake fair catch to keep Fresno off the scent. Touchback on a 49-yard boot. Davis Warren coming back out with a 7-0 lead early in the 2nd.
Back here at Michigan Stadium, Fresno State back on defense, trailing by 7, and a huge interception from Cam Lockridge earlier in the game. And 2023 was a very difficult year for Lockridge. He was dealing with the tragic loss of his mother, and his football season was derailed with a season-ending pectoral injury. He told me, I was dealing with a lot, and then the injury sidelined me, and I lost myself. Tim Skipper told us he was worried about Lockridge, who reached out to his coaches for help. Lockridge began working with a therapist, and Skipper said he's grown up so much in that process, he has found his why. Lockridge told me he was so excited to put his uniform on, run out here tonight, and said he feels better than he ever has. Well, he's certainly demonstrating that tonight, guys.
Well, a massive play on that interception down the field. It felt like it gave Fresno State some life here so far in this first half. And a really great story. Great to see him back out there. So much experience as a transfer from Hawaii. His grandfather, Ken Griffey Sr., his uncle, Ken Griffey Jr., obviously a very talented family, but the only player on this roster, it was almost crazy that I read this and it was true, only player on this roster born in the 1990s.
Wow. Yeah. Well, one guy that we are anxious to see, as is Tim Skipper, probably the highest profile guy they brought into the program this year, Corey Foreman, a former 5-star recruit that went to USC. A lot of hoopla around him and his recruitment. Never quite materialized into being the dominant player they thought he would be. Jeff Tedford got him to Fresno State this year, and they think he has elite pass rushing skills. Where he needs to grow and develop still is his being able to play every down and defend the run. His position coach has done a great job with him. Jethro Franklin, who played in the NFL, a former Fresno State football player himself, has really coached him hard and worked with him, but they believe that if they can get this guy to be an every down guy, he can be a factor. He's already a factor in the pass game.
Todd, I've never seen Mike Gate before, but Chef Servinski finally gets his squared away. It is excellent to mention Corey Foreman, and they're really expecting him to make that impact on third down. He was a consensus top 5 recruit at any and every service you look at. And Jeff Tedford said there was one practice this offseason. He had a couple sacks, he had a couple interceptions, a one-hander. He walked into the defensive room and said, "You let Lawrence Taylor on the field." That's the type of talent he possesses. Now first down at the 20 for Michigan. Warren, quick trigger. It is dropped. Looking for O'Leary on the sideline.
Another tight coverage job by Lockridge. I like these two corners. I mean, Lockridge, when he got hurt last year, Hamilton, number 3, ended up starting 10 games. Ball was catchable, but Lockridge was right close in the area. And I think the combination of those two corners, plus their third corner, Julian Neal, number 15, they're pretty confident in that group.
Second down carry for Edwards, and that hole closes up quick. Lockridge was the first one there and just gets back to the line of scrimmage. He is having a day, maybe even loses a yard. Tim Skipper has said the main thing for this team in this game, just keep it close going to the fourth quarter and put all the pressure on Michigan. Then you try to steal it late. They're doing that right now.
If this is a pass situation, let's see what Foreman does against Miles Hinton, the left tackle.
Third and 11. Here comes Foreman on the outside. Oh, instead it's the inside. Warren gets devoured, and it's Christensen on the bolt and a loss of 9.
Well, Christensen with his second huge play of the game. And watch the quickness. He's working on El Hadi, the right guard, and just a quick move inside and one-on-one beats the right guard. And that's the shortest path to the quarterback, is right up the field and nowhere to go for Davis Warren. So this Fresno State defense kind of getting their feet on the ground right now.
They felt that they were disrespected at the end of last year. They had a struggle because they were hurt and banged up. The last 3 games, they gave up 33.3 points per game. But they believe they're better than that. They believe they're going to prove that through the season as Doman is going to send it away. And Moss is going to take it on the run into Michigan territory, just shy of the 45 of the flag down.
This could be a costly penalty on Fresno State, because they were about to start out another possession in Michigan territory with great field position. And this is probably going to back them up.
Will Jeff Servinski's microphone work?
During the return,
yes.
Holding, return team number 1. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down and 10. Full media timeout.
Lockridge called for it. Still good field position for Fresno State when we come back. Well, Todd, one thing Sharon Moore really talked about with Mikey Keene was how quick he released the ball. These numbers courtesy of PFF. 2.47 seconds average time to throw last year was the 6th fastest in the country.
Well, he is doing a good job of getting rid of the ball, but he's been high throwing the football. Now, sometimes it's been because of pressure, and he's got to get rid of the football, but other times he's just not quite comfortable yet. All quarterbacks like to find their rhythm, and Mikey Keene has not found a rhythm yet. But the good news is his defense is playing lights out, and it's a one-score game still.
And no Will Johnson once again to start this drive for Michigan's defense. Malik Sherrod is in there. He had a couple productive runs earlier in the quarter. 5 attempts, 15 yards on the ground.
I go right there at Amir Hill, the new corner in the game.
Instead, it is Sherrod pushing the pile. Got a decent push and picks up maybe 3 on first down.
I said Hill, Amir Hall. It's Jair Hill on the other side, but with Will Johnson not in the game, that changes things for Wink Martindale, because you've got a lockdown guy in Will Johnson, and now you got to kind of protect both those guys.
And Miles Pollard now on the top of your screen. Sherrod stays in there on 2nd and 8. Play action pass, go right at Pollard. It's a catch. Jalen Moss goes up high and vacuums it in.
Yeah, I mean, you get backup corners in the game. Now look, they're highly recruited kids at Michigan, but this is a win. That's your best guy. He gets quick separation. Pollard doesn't get any contact on him at the line of scrimmage. And maybe that's the throw Mikey Keene needs to get a rhythm going.
Moss last year, most receiving yards by a freshman in program history since Devontae Adams. Now you go to the other go-to guy. It's Mac Delana around the outside for a couple as we go down to KT.
Guys, Will Johnson has been on the sideline. He is not receiving treatment. I am told it is simply a rotation that they're doing on defense with Amir Hall, but he has not received any look at by the personal trainers, and he's standing on the sideline with his helmet on, guys.
Very interesting. This is a defense that certainly last year loved to rotate because they kept guys fresh for the 4th quarter. We heard that over and over from Jesse Minter, but this is your best guy and one of the best in the country, not playing a ton in the 2nd quarter.
Well, you have both of your starting corners on the sideline right now. I would say if Fresno State advances into the red zone, we'll see a change in that.
Sherrod motions back to the backfield. Sherrod on first down. Patient runner. And he disappears into the pile after 2.
Good blocking at the point of attack. Again, there's some veterans on this Fresno State offensive line. We mentioned the center, Vavao Velez. The left guard is a 2nd-year starter. Braylon Nelson, the right tackle, a returning starter. And they are not afraid of the physicality of the Michigan defensive front.
And there you see number 2, Will Johnson, back on the field along with Jair Hill.
Yep. Too close to the end zone, you know.
Knocking on the door of this red zone with an impressive kicker in Lynch. Nowhere to go for Sherrod. Stonewalled at the line, and it's 3rd and long.
Now this is Mason Graham. I mean, he's getting double teamed, and watch him. He's going to fight through a double team right there, number 55. There's 2 guys there. He fights, he turns back inside, and he's there to make a tackle.
There's a reason that guy's going to be a 1st-round pick. 3rd and 8.
Jalen Moss is at the top of the screen.
Keene feeling the pressure, lost it, end zone, Delana can't make the grab. Matched up with Johnson, and he got the separation with a tough ball.
And it was a perfect route. You go after Will Johnson with a 2-move, right? He goes like he's running the slant. It's a slant and go. It's a perfect route, and he gets separation. And it could have been a better throw by Mikey Keene. Could have been caught, but could have been an easy touchdown with a better throw. Excellent route, though, by Delana.
So it'll be Dylan Lynch, who put on 25 pounds of muscle this offseason, a 41-yarder. He's got plenty of leg. Special teams coordinator John Baxter said he's been kicking it as well as he's seen through camp, and he shows it off there. Absolutely perfect to get points on the board for Fresno State. A productive drive, and they're back within 4. The Bulldogs on the board here tonight. It's nearby. There's the high school field right there. There's the big house right down the street. That's pretty good. A packed big house at that, to watch the defending national champions currently holding on to a 7-3 lead. They hold Fresno State to the field goal 41-yarder by Lynch. And now what does Sharon Moore have as a response? We've really mostly seen Davis Warren at quarterback, but Alex Orji, the one play that he came in, he threw the touchdown.
Well, whoever is under center, I would expect to see Michigan try to get back to running the football, getting back to their identity. Not very many yards running the football so far.
Mullings is going to take this from just beyond the goal line and is spilled out across the 25. So Warren back out there. This Michigan offense, that first drive after the interception on the 3rd play of the game. They go 5 plays right down the field. The touchdown from Orji to Edwards. But since then, punt, interception, punt, punt.
And another change now up front. A new center in. Greg Crippen, number 51, is the new center, replacing Dominic Jadis. He was in a battle. There were 3 guys battling for the starting center. Most people thought it was going to be Crippen, but now he's in the game as the backup. And I would expect to see Michigan try to get back to running the football downhill.
Mullings and Edwards each with 4 carries. Play clock down to 2. It will be Mullings. And he's hit immediately. Another nice play by Nomura. One of the captains of this defense. You see the hair flowing in the wind, and he has made plays really on every angle that he possibly can.
Yeah, he does a great job. Here he is right in the middle. Watch him read this quickly. Beats the block. Now Bredesen slipped a little bit. Bredesen should have been the lead block on him, and he slipped going into the hole. And Nomura jumped right over him and made the tackle.
Langley cleans it up. Gain of 1. So 9 total carries between the 2 running backs for a combined 19 yards. Warren a pass on 2nd down. Over the middle. He's got a completion. It's Bell. Makes a move. He's got the first down. Lockridge gets him down, but Kendrick Bell, whose brother Ronnie was a star receiver here at Michigan, shows off the family tutelage.
Yeah, they really like him. They feel he is their best deep ball receiver as far as making contested catches. Now this time he's wide open, does a smart thing of catching and getting upfield and getting the first down.
A nice ball there from Warren, who's 5 of 7. One of those 2 incompletions. The interception deep to Lockridge. Handoff, Mullings slips away. Mullings for 5. It's been more Mullings than Edwards so far. And Donovan Edwards, we asked him about the almost topsy-turvy feel of what his last season looked like, the slow start, the fast finish, but he said he learned how to be a man, and he really learned patience more than anything else.
Well, and I think he put a lot of pressure on himself last year to have a great season, to be ready for the NFL, and it didn't work out the way he envisioned, but he finished strong.
Mullings, stutter step, Mullings, enough for the first down.
Try to let that offensive line assert themselves. I mean, this Fresno State defense has been up for the challenge. But if you're Michigan, I mean, this is your identity. We mentioned Crippen in there now. The other guy that's a new starter that was kind of a surprise is the right tackle, Evan Link, a sophomore who went to Gonzaga High School in D.C. And he kind of beat out a couple older guys. Was kind of a surprise, but had an outstanding camp to earn that starting position at right tackle.
Fresh set of downs just shy of midfield. Morris the motion man. Mullings the handoff. They go right back to him, up the gut, pushing the pile, and picks up 5 more.
See, this is the same kind of play leading Bredesen. If you want to know where Michigan wants to run the football, follow number 44. They feel like he's the best fullback slash H-back in college football. And he does the dirty work. He's going to show you where the ball is going. That time, he got the block on Nomura that he missed a couple plays ago.
We don't see the fullback a ton in the modern day football, but we see just the influence it brings. Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman now with the Chargers, hoping to do the same at the NFL level. Warren slams, completes, Loveland move the sticks once again.
The easy throw off simple play action because you started out this drive running the football with some success. Single coverage against the safety Braca because Fresno State moving bodies up to defend the run, and that's an easy throw and catch for Davis Warren. But those completions are set up by Michigan's decision to run the football early in this drive.
First down line brought to you by TikTok. Power football with Edwards back in there. Loveland now with 3 catches for 28 yards.
A lot of confusion right there. Good timeout by Michigan. They got good momentum going on this drive. And Sharon Moore realized there was some confusion on formation, personnel, and wisely took the timeout.
And they can use that now because you've got that 2-minute timeout.
Yeah,
I know everyone
right.
knows it as the 2-minute warning. Technically called the 2-minute timeout, instilled this year in the second and fourth quarters of the college football world. And so you're going to get a stoppage at 2 minutes. You still have 2 timeouts remaining, and Michigan gets the football to start the second half. So a 7-3 lead for the number 9 team in the country. This Fresno State defense has thoroughly impressed, playing with a chip on their shoulder for a lot of the question marks they felt they heard last year. And their biggest point of emphasis this season was stopping the run. You look at what Lockridge did on the deep interception earlier in the quarter, and they've certainly put that emphasis on this right here.
Well, they got a big stop. A couple of great plays on the inside by Ezra Christensen. A stop on 3rd down. This sack on 3rd down. Michigan struggling on 3rd down in this ball game. Still 0 for 3, even though they got a nice drive going right here.
Bredesen out wide, as is Edwards on 1st down. Warren uncorks. It's Loveland again on the run. Picks up 13 to the 25.
A unique formation for Michigan. Even though they have 2 tight ends out, they have an empty backfield, and this is their key guy, Loveland, working on the linebacker, and that's a mismatch. I mean, he just runs a little shake route and leaves Malachi Langley in the dust. You spread the defense out. You have a personnel group that would not suggest they're going to spread out like that. And you get him working on a linebacker, and that's an easy win for Colston Loveland.
Loveland was easily one of the best tight ends in the country last year, and Sharon Moore says he's gotten even better. Get it? Edwards trying to get to the outside. He can't. Good pursuit by Braca.
Edwards carried the ball. Run out of bounds by 22.
Yeah, the 2 safeties, Braca and Dean Clark. The best thing about them, whether you talk to the Fresno coaches or the Michigan coaches, they say they're great tacklers. I mean, they really do a good job of getting people on the ground from the safety position.
Michigan can take this all the way down to the 2-minute timeout if they want, or they can take one more play beforehand. Edwards in there on 2nd and 12. And they won't snap it. 2 minutes to play here in the first half. Michigan holding on to a 7-3 lead, but threatening deep in the second. 2 bitter rivals face off in Manchester. Man United versus Liverpool tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern, exclusively on Peacock. Well, the extra lights added here at Michigan Stadium, they are putting on a show, and this Fresno State defense deserves a lot of credit for the way they played today.
Now that's defensive coordinator Kevin Coyle in his 3rd year. Ironically, he was the D coordinator here back in 1997 to 2000 when Tim Skipper was the starting middle linebacker. They have a great relationship, and he has to be thrilled because they have held Michigan to 32 yards of rushing here in the first half so far. Right now, the goal is keep them behind the chains, and let's see if we can force a field goal attempt here before halftime.
Change of pace once again, knocking on the door of the red zone. Alex Orji in at quarterback for this 2nd and 12. Threw once in his only play on the day so far. It was a touchdown to Donovan Edwards on the first drive. Here's the handoff. Mullins chopped down. He gets to the 25, gets bent backward after the fact. Corey Foreman laying the boom. And Now Orji back to the sideline. Edwards back in the game. Clock continues to tick. Fresno State with all 3 timeouts remaining for a 3rd and 9. But remember, Michigan does get the football to start the second half.
If they get a stop right here, you might see Fresno State use one of those timeouts to preserve some time for their offense.
Those are the decisions for a new head coach and Tim Skipper. Warren, Edwards. Sniffed out.
And that was Julian Neal, the 3rd corner. He's the bigger of their corners. 6'2", 200 pounds. He made a nice tackle in the open field on Donovan Edwards. Tim Skipper told me his nickname is Hitman, which I guess is appropriate here close to Detroit where Thomas Hearns.
No timeout taken, by the way, here, Todd. So this clock is going to be able to dwindle all the way down to, trying to do the quick math in my head, about 28 seconds.
Yeah, I don't get that. I mean, you've got 3 timeouts in your pocket.
45-yard attempt, and Zavada drills it. So 31 is the time remaining. Still a 7-point game, all 3 Fresno State timeouts. But you go from having potentially a minute plus to having 31 seconds to go down the field.
Well, it's still a 1-score game, so you have to be thrilled with where you're at. But particularly with Michigan getting the ball to start the 3rd quarter and not your offense, if you have faith like I know they do in Mikey Keene, I would have wanted to give him as much time as I could with 2 timeouts.
So now Mikey Keene, this is where that experience comes into play. Somebody who's been in 2-minute drill type of situations. You don't have to get it all. And again, they've got a kicker in Lynch who has put on extra weight to try to get some of that extra oomph on some of those kicks for some of the deeper ones. So you just got to get to the target line. They've seen him make from 54 in practice. That would put you right around the 36, 37-yard line. If you can get there, you can at least give it a ride.
Yeah. Well, and for Mikey Keene right now, look, he's not completely on his game. He's 8 for 16, 72 yards and an interception. And so he cannot afford to make a big mistake here, right? Your team is right in it. Your defense is playing outstanding. It's a 1-score game. Don't try to force the issue with under 40 seconds left in the ball in the first half.
Coming up on the Xfinity halftime report, highlights from top 10 teams in action around the country, and our crew picks their national champion here week 1 of the season. Just keep in mind, it is week 1, so we don't want anyone giving them a hard time if anything goes awry.
A lot of times in a situation like this, you call a screen or something safe. You see if you can make a quick first down, then maybe you get aggressive and use your timeouts. But again, only 31 seconds left in the half and a long field ahead of you against this Michigan defense.
It looks like conservative here just based on how they're lining up. And it is Gilliam up the middle, scampers forward. Gilliam will pick up 9. Will Tim Skipper take the timeout? It doesn't look like he will. So he's content going to the locker room down by 7. Not forcing any issues, not making any mistakes in these final moments of this first half. A Fresno State defensive effort that has turned a lot of heads, not just here tonight, but certainly around the country in the Mountain West. As we go to the break, the number 9 team in the country and the defending national champions holding just a 10-3 advantage over a very proud Fresno State Bulldog program. Michigan will get that second half kickoff. Now just at 97 yards total offense for Fresno State, 89 for Michigan as we go down to KT.
Coach, the majority of quarterback play in this game belongs to Davis Warren. What have you seen from him so far?
Yeah, I thought he's played good football. He's taking care of the ball. He had the one pick up there. We got to do a better job at receiver going and fight for it and playing some good defense, but I thought he's done a good job with the offense.
On defense, we're seeing a rotation with Will Johnson and Amir Hall. How would you describe the decision to do that?
I mean, I think it's been really good. Those guys have played really good. Will Johnson almost had a couple picks. They're playing physical up front, so defense done an outstanding job.
Coach, thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate it.
It is the Sharon Moore era here in Ann Arbor, and a 10-3 advantage through the first 2 quarters at the Big House. Fresno State hanging in. Our halftime squad will break it all down when we come back. This first half recap is brought to you by Geico.
I'm on a mission now. No, you can't stop me now. I keep it coming now. No, you can't stop me now. I'm on a mission now. I'm on a mission now. I'm gonna crank it loud. They keep it coming now. No, you can't stop me now.
Get more with Geico. Time now for the Big Bulletin, brought to you by Genesis, the number 9 team in the country, defending national champs with a 10-3 advantage at the half. It has not been an offensive exhibition so far. 89 total yards for Michigan in that first half, fewest they've had in a first half since 2016 against Florida State, where they finished with 83. Mikey Keene, the experienced of the 2 quarterbacks, 8 of 16, the 72 yards, and the early interception, has struggled to find his own footing. The interception from Davis Warren, we expected to see both. We saw less of Orji, but he does have the passing touchdown on their first drive of the night. As we get set for this third quarter, Todd, what do both these teams need to do now in a 1-score game?
Well, we're going to see Michigan on offense first. I think for Michigan, it's pretty simple. The burden falls to their offensive line, not their new quarterbacks. Their offensive line has to impose their will better than they did in the first half and get Kalel Mullings and Donovan Edwards loose running the football. And then for Fresno State, it's a winnable game if Mikey Keene gets hot. He can't be a 50% completion guy in the second half.
Mullings will take this from 5 yards deep. Finds a crease. Mullings across the 25, spun down at the 27 as we go downstairs and check in with KT.
Well, Noah, as you can imagine, Tim Skipper was all smiles at the half. He told me this is Bulldog football. This is right where we want to be. We just have to keep putting our foot on the gas. He said, I love what our team is doing in the trenches. This is a team game. Everyone is playing their role well, and we just have to keep it going here in the second half, guys.
You know, TP, we asked Tim Skipper about being in this environment. He goes, this is what college football's all about. I'm an optimistic type of guy. I love playing in enemy territory like this with 110,000 fans.
And he knew the game would be decided in the trenches, and his guys have been up for that challenge.
Play action to Edwards. Warren on first down finds Loveland on the run. He shoved out of bounds at the 30.
Colston Loveland, the one bright spot offensively in that first half. That's his 5th catch of the ball game. Throw it anywhere near him, and he's going to make the play. He's too big for a safety, and he's too fast and athletic for a linebacker. And he's got a huge catch radius. So Orji in now on second down.
Loveland with the 5 catches, the rest of this Michigan receiving corps with 5 combined. Orji on 2nd and 7. Design run. Orji walloped at the line. Gabriel Lightfoot, one of the more veteran players on this defensive side for Fresno State, the first to make contact.
See, the difference between this defense preparing for 2 quarterbacks in a regular season and when it's a first game, they know what Orji can do. They've got a plan for both quarterbacks because they've had a month of training camp to get ready for this game and these 2 quarterbacks. It's a lot different if you have to do that during a normal game week, but they've had plenty of time to prepare for both guys.
You see right there, 0 for 4 Michigan on 3rd down. This one 3rd and 6 for Warren. Loveland, the go-to. First down and more into Fresno territory, dragging Lockridge with him.
I mean, you got to ask the question, who can win? It's Colston Loveland. He's going against their best corner, Cam Lockridge, who had the interception in the first half. He gets separation right away. He's a big target, and you can see what he can do after the catch.
Longest play of the game goes for 21. First 3rd down conversion for this Michigan offense.
Donovan Edwards needs to become more of a factor in this game. He's too explosive, too dynamic, and hasn't done much.
There he is, Edwards couldn't bring it in. Nearly taken in by Lockridge, instead incomplete, 2nd and 10.
Errant throw by Davis Warren. Now, they may not have gained many yards because Nomura was there to make a tackle, but it was a bad throw. And Donovan Edwards couldn't do anything about it.
Colston Loveland. Mentioned the continued growth from him, something that Sharon Moore talked about as he's dominated the receiving stats for Michigan. He's gone into the office throughout this entire offseason. He's opened the shade to his window, and he has seen Colston Loveland on the field working out every single time. He's like, again, this guy? Yeah, that guy, making the hands catch across the 45.
Well, as a free rusher, Davis Warren knew it was coming. This guy's unblocked. There's an empty backfield, so no back in there to help on protection. He knows it's hot. Loveland knows it's hot. There's actually pressure from both sides, and he's able to get it out quickly. And again, just the catching ability of a big man in Colston Loveland.
He's going to go to the sideline for a crucial 3rd down and 4, although at this distance to the goal line, you wonder if they look at this as 4-down territory. Warren uncorks, complete over the middle. Sure-handed catch by Tyler Morris, and the veteran moves the sticks.
Good read, man-to-man coverage with a single high safety. He's in the slot. Tyler Morris with good separation and a good throw on time by Davis Warren. That's 2 third-down conversions on this drive after going over in the first half.
Michigan get back to the run on 1st down with Edwards in there. Donovan Edwards only 5 carries for 3 yards so far in this game.
See, this is when you can run because it's a 2 deep high safety. All right, so now the numbers favor running the football.
And that's what they do. Edwards wiggles through, pushing his way to the 31.
Fresno State has been playing a lot of single high, getting extra bodies around the run. That's why they did such a great job in that run game in the first half. And I don't know that they really fear, other than Colston Loveland, the Michigan wide receivers. They're comfortable playing single high with man coverage and taking their chances.
So Warren to the sideline, Orji back out there. They're truly sprinkling them both in on this drive. Loveland there. Matched up with Dean Clark, the safety. Edwards bounce it. Edwards sheds a tackler. Flag is down. Edwards finds the edge and sails out of bounds after a 1st down run. We'll check the penalty.
Holding. Number 68. 10-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
I tell you what, this is kind of a tough call on Josh Pree because his hands are inside. Now, he does have a hold of the jersey. As you can see, I think that was Ezra Christensen trying to turn and go to the ball carrier. But typically, if a lineman has his hands inside and is driving his feet, he's going to get away with that one. But that time, Christensen sold it a little bit and got the penalty.
And Christensen a little bit shaken up after the play, so he'll go to the sideline, but it does move Michigan back to 2nd and 17 on their first penalty of the night. So we'll see what the play calling looks like. Edwards off, Mullings in. And now the 2nd tight end, Marlon Klein, also in the game, coming from Germany. Here comes the rush. Warren feels it, lobs it up, incomplete. Samaj Morgan, the intended target.
Really nice job by Khalil Mullings picking up the blitz. That was different than the time when it was hot. Watch him come across the formation, pick up the blitz to allow Davis Warren to stay in there and make the throw. Mullings does his job. It's a clean pocket. Just not an errant throw, or an errant throw by Davis Warren.
You know, Todd, one thing that Donovan Edwards told us about both quarterbacks, they each have their very unique and individual aura in the huddle, but they both command respect from everybody on the offensive side. That's what Davis Warren said his biggest goal of this season was. This is a big 3rd and 17. They converted their first 2 third downs on the drive, but they'll keep it conservative with Mullings getting it to the 35. This would be a long field goal attempt should they choose for it. It looks like they're going to run out the field goal unit.
So Zavada is going to go for it. His career long is 56 yards, came in 2022. Already made from 45 here today. And this one's going to be from 53 yards away. A transfer from Arkansas State. Does it have the leg? It does, and then some. A 53-yard bomb. And Michigan goes back up 10. 9:21 to play in the third. They can't get the score on 6, but they do get 3. Zavada from way downtown gets Michigan on the board to start the second half. Great feel for the environment here at the Big House. And yes, the reigning national champions take a little bit of a larger lead. This has been a back and forth affair, and the Fresno State defense has held their own. But the Michigan first 5 drives, they had only 3 first downs in their last 2 combined. The final of the second quarter and the start here of the third quarter. 6 first downs, including 4 on that last drive that led to the 53-yard field goal from Zavada. Dolman sends it deep. Delana and James waiting for it, and once again we'll let it sail into the end zone for a touchback.
Well, coming into the game are Nissan big shots. The 2 interior tackles, Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham from Michigan. Mason Graham making his presence felt in the ball game. You got to have a plan for him. This time Fresno State says we're going to commit 3 guys. Well, that means one-on-one for someone else. Cam Brandt with the pressure. If you block him one guy, he's going to win, whether it's a run or a pass. Not good percentage. This time it's a double team, and guess what? Mason Graham still wins, beats the double team, and gets in on the run tackle. So these 2 guys on the inside are such a handful, but Fresno State not backing away from the challenge.
Play action on first down. Keen's in trouble. Will go down. No time to work for Mikey Keene as Rayshon Benny got to him immediately.
This looks like confusion by the right guard and right tackle. Do you got him? No. Do you have him? Who has him? Nobody has him. Rayshon Benny splits the guard and the tackle, and an easy sack.
Take a look at where he grabs Keene here. Does he get him on the horse collar?
Yeah, and that is a new rule this year, a new point of emphasis. So far, no stoppage in play.
Keene, he has a completion. In stride, Delana's going to take it for a first down.
Nice
19 yards.
Nice design of the play. Mikey Keene is going to fake to his right, like he's throwing the quick screen, and that's going to move the Michigan defense and just kind of open a seam. Right in there in the middle, the nice little hesitation and the look of the eyes by Mikey Keene opened up a seam.
Sherrod in there. He's been the most productive running back. 10 carries for 32 yards despite the ankle injury. Delayed handoff, it is Sherrod. And he just disappears into that pile right back to the line of scrimmage.
Now this time they double teamed Kenneth Grant, and that left Mason Graham singled, and Mason Graham was in on the tackle along with Derek Moore. Again, who are you going to double team? Who are you going to single block? It's hard to single block either one of them.
They work so well together. They've been roommates the last couple of years. Grant just moved out. They still go fishing together, still hang out just about every day, certainly in that room. They are the leaders. Keene, a strike right in the pocket for Moss.
Mikey Keene's pass is complete.
A really nice job by Moss. Watch him settle down between the linebackers. Instead of racing across the field, he finds the hole and settles down for his quarterback. And Keene able to find him.
Sherrod, no running room. This Michigan defensive front showcasing just how stout they are.
Stopped by Mason Graham.
It's got to be good for Wink Martindale to know big 55 up front can just disrupt just about anything.
I mean, the numbers say, why are you still running? Only 17 rushing yards for Fresno State, but you have to keep them honest. You can't just throw every down. They're too talented as pass rushers and coverage guys. You've got to keep balance and keep the defense honest.
Sherrod tries to cut it upfield, and he is walloped by Stewart. Picks up 2.
Really good play by Josiah Stewart. He's playing run first, disciplined on the edge. Watch him here. He's going to set the edge, so he's not going to get beat outside. and then once he reads the play, he falls inside and makes the tackle. He didn't chase right away, stayed disciplined, and still was able with his quickness to make the play.
3rd and 8.
No safety for Michigan, showing all-out pressure.
Keene, dump it, Sherrod, can he get away? No, he can't! Thrown backward by Josiah Stewart.
They tried to run a screen and get the left guard, Velez, out in front of the play, and Velez just went out there and blocked nobody. I mean, he should have been the guy that tried to get a block on Josiah Stewart. He's out there, and he just can't get to him. And Stewart, with his quickness, makes the play. They might have had a decent play if they could get a block on Josiah Stewart.
Clay Lawrence back out there to boot it away to Samaj Morgan. Called for the fair catch, and then lets it sail out of bounds. We'll see where they officially rule this one. It'll be the 9-yard line. So 91 yards to go for this Michigan offense, up by 10, midway through the 3rd. Well, this was expected to be a big year for Donovan Edwards. He's been shifting gears his entire career. He came in the 2021 season highly touted recruit, but he was behind both Haskins and Corum in that backfield. He took a back seat. Then the following season, he got to be in that passenger side, along with Blake Corum in the front seat, a little over 1,100 total scrimmage yards. But last year went back to that back seat, took a back seat to Blake, who was just unbelievable. Now, with that being said, the first 9 versus the last 6 of the season for Donovan Edwards was a big difference. But Sharon Moore knows they need this guy to be at his best if this team's going to be at their best.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question he has shown up in big games. The challenge for him this year is we need you to play big in every game, not just in the Ohio State game, not just in the playoffs or the national championship game. They need him right now.
And he tries to lower the shoulder and gets stoned by Nomura and Jackson. Let's go down to KT.
Well, Colston Loveland also echoed a lot of what you guys are saying when I talked to him this week. He said Donovan Edwards has been waiting for this opportunity. He's a leader, but this year he's more vocal. He calls people out. He lets his teammates know what he's thinking. He's 100% transparent, and Loveland said that that's huge because he said we need to know what he's thinking, and he needs to know what we are, guys.
Well, he certainly has tried to win the favor of the offensive line. He's been taking them to dinners at Ruth's Chris, which can't hurt. Orji in the game. Option. Orji outside, showing off the speed for a first down.
Yeah, the first real bit of green grass for Alex Orji. The fake to Donovan Edwards. And you called it, the speed. This guy is 6'3", 235 pounds, and still beats the Fresno State defense to the edge for the first down.
You saw him on the field before the game. He is, when I know that they say specimen for Barham.
First sideline warning for Michigan. There is no penalty. Result of the play is a first down.
So the 11-yard pickup stands. He is big, strong, fast, everything in between. The throwing was always the question mark for Orji, but we saw that on the first drive with a touchdown pass, a little bit of the touch. He is still a weapon, even if he's not your starting quarterback. A huge weapon.
Absolutely. And the key for him is just continuing to develop as a passer, a consistent passer. He's got a strong arm. Just got to be consistent throwing it.
First down run for Edwards. Up the middle, and there's some production from Edwards for 8.
Good hard-nosed run. Now look, Fresno State is selling out against the run. I mean, they are putting bodies around the line of scrimmage, and their defensive front is playing physical against this new Michigan offensive line. So there are no easy yards. There are no big chunk plays running the football right now. And so it's going to be blue-collar, hard-nosed runs, whether it's Donovan Edwards or Kalel Mullins or Alex Orji if he's in the game.
Second down and 3 from the 28. Delay. That nice hesitation just gave him enough space for the first down.
Yeah, just kind of waited for his guard, El Hadi, number 58, to come from the other side. Watch this play. Watch number 58, El Hadi, the lead blocker, and Edwards just kind of paused and let him get into his block on the edge and turn it into a first down.
They're riding Edwards now on this drive. Feels like that's been the missing piece for him on top of it. He hasn't been out there for an extended drive yet. Warren outside, a little bit too far in front of Bell and incomplete. Warren now 12 of 17, the 89 yards on the interception. And again, Orji back in the game on 2nd down and 10.
I'll tell you the other guy that I think has to, you know, be more of a factor. We've seen Loveland. We're starting to see Edwards. Samaj Morgan has to become more of a factor too. He's the most proven wide receiver they had coming back this year. Been pretty quiet so far. 1 catch in the ball game.
And that 9-yard run on the opening drive does eventually set up the touchdown. Fake it, Orji looking to set up his blockers. Orji over the top and picks up 10 more.
Got a nice block by Marlon Klein, number 17, who was careful not to hold on the outside. Here's Klein. We've seen Loveland do this. Now he gets a big block on the outside. Makes sure he doesn't hold. He kind of gets in the way. I think Terry thinks this is a hold again. That's not a hold, Terry. Come on.
Spoken like a true quarterback. Got the players back.
Hooks him around the waist, restricts right the point of attack. But okay.
I don't know what all those words mean.
Yeah, there's a lot of compound syllables. Warren loads it up, looking for it all. Incomplete for Morris. Lockridge was there in lockstep.
Out and up. He had separation. Just a slight overthrow by Davis Warren. Watch Lockridge bite on the out fake. And once he stopped like that, that allowed Moore to get separation.
Got a player down on the field for Fresno State. It's Hamilton. Will step aside with Michigan up by 10 and driving. Aerial coverage brought to you by Ford. Moments ago, Alzillian Hamilton, the cornerback for Fresno State, walks off. Looks like maybe some cramping for him as they attended to him, and he'll head to the medical tent for extra treatment. The wave is broken out. Well, summer's not quite over yet. Time to ride the wave. That's what Michigan's offense looking to do with a semi-productive drive. It's a drive that started back on the 9-yard line. Bredesen, the motion man, 2nd and 10 with Edwards still in there. Warren on the move. Warren fires, incomplete, just threw it away in the direction of Morgan. Todd, you mentioned this. The wide receiver production has been slow. We have seen Colston Loveland, the tight end, 7 catches, 69 yards. He's had a nice day, but the rest need to catch up.
And this has to be pretty disappointing for Kirk Campbell, the offensive coordinator, because he told me, he said, look, we were very lucky last year that we didn't have injuries at wide receiver and tight end because we didn't have a lot of depth. This year they feel like they have more depth. Even though they are without Roman Wilson and Cornelius Johnson, their 2 leading receivers from a year ago, they felt pretty good about the depth that they had coming in.
One of those pieces make a play as we head down the stretch here tonight. Off the back foot, incomplete for Morgan. Looking around for some kind of penalty, won't get it. Phoenix Jackson providing the pressure.
Yeah, Donovan Edwards was just late getting there. I mean, that was his responsibility. Here's Jackson right here, and Donovan Edwards just isn't there in time. And Davis Warren has to get rid of the football. Donovan Edwards usually pretty good at that, picking up that block, but just was a hair late. And Warren had to throw the football away.
So a productive drive stalls out shy of midfield. Doman sends it away. Fair catch called for and made under duress by Moss. It's a drive that'll start at the 14 for Fresno State. Can their offense catch fire and bring themselves closer? First year with defensive coordinator Wink Martindale coming over from the New York Giants last season. You look at the difference between he and Jesse Minter, and it's the same defensive system, but the blitz rate first in the NFL, defensive back blitz rate first in the NFL. The FBS rank for Michigan last year, 52nd in blitz rate, 34th in defensive blitz rate, all according to PFF. We haven't seen necessarily a ton of blitzing so far. How much of that is just catered to personnel?
Well, a lot. I mean, Wink Martindale is a smart defensive coach. I mean, he doesn't blitz just to blitz. I mean, he blitzes if he needs to create pressure. But when you can create pressure with your front 4 like they've done for the most part tonight and stuff the run, you don't need to blitz. That gives you more flexibility with coverage on the back end.
Gilliam sneaks through for 2 on first down. Well, we mentioned the idea of the connections from the last 2 defensive coordinators here in Ann Arbor. Mike McDonald, now the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. Jesse Minter, now the defensive coordinator with the Chargers. But Wink Martindale was there with them in Baltimore. This quote is awesome. It's like I told the players, you know, in all humility, I'm the OG of this system. Not a whole lot's going to change. Maybe a little bit more aggressive as Hill breaks up the pass on Moss there. Said, we're just going to be completely fine here. It's going to be a continuation.
Well, the defense, you know, I talked to him on the field before the game. He was really excited to see his defense play against another team. You know, no preseason games, no scrimmages with other teams like they do in the NFL. This is their first time playing against another team. He's got to be pretty happy with what he's seen so far.
Let's see if they bring the blitz here on 3rd down and 8. Crowd's been relatively quiet throughout the night, waiting for a reason to erupt. Blitz comes. Barham in pursuit. Keene gets rid of it. And was anybody there? Does get it past the line of scrimmage. Was he outside of that tackle box as well? Barham on the pressure and Keene on the throwaway.
See, this is a blitz, but it's a zone blitz. It's zone coverage behind it. It's a tricky coverage. Mikey Keene is running for his life and has to just bail and throw the ball away. They get a free rusher, but they're not taking a chance of playing man-to-man coverage.
Showcases that impact that Barham should provide through the season. Sharon Moore said it was a simple choice, bringing Martindale in for all the reasons we outlined. Lawrence sends another one deep. Morgan calls for it and makes the fair catch. Good field position for this Michigan offense. On Thursday, Michigan fans got an exclusive sneak peek of the new Peacock original series, Fight Night $1 Million Heist. The show starring Kevin Hart, Samuel L. Jackson, Taraji P. Henson, Don Cheadle, and Terrence Howard premieres September 5th. That is an all-star ensemble in what should be a really entertaining show. And that's what this Michigan offense is still trying to provide. An extra spark, an extra level of entertainment. Davis Warren has been the guy for the majority of these snaps at quarterback. Orji has come in and spelled them with just 1 pass attempt that went for the touchdown. Only touchdown of the game. Bredesen in motion, handed off for Mullings. Mullings bounce away and picks up 6.
Well, a lot of credit belongs to this Fresno State defense, particularly their front 7 and how stout and physical they have been against the run. Michigan typically has been able over the last few years to impose their will on teams with their front, and they just haven't been able to do that. I mean, running the football now 87 yards, well below their normal numbers rushing the football.
Second and a long 2. Warren, quick strike outside. Morris. It's going to depend on the spot as to whether they move the sticks here. It looks like they'll give it to him on forward progress as Regan tried to keep him backward. You know, it is worth mentioning that if this Fresno State defense plays like this throughout the year with the expanded playoff, this team is a legitimate threat.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be one Group of 5 conference champion that's going to make it into the playoffs. And the Mountain West Conference has got a couple good teams. And this is one of them. Boise State is predicted to win the conference, but Fresno State is showing that they'll be in that conversation for sure if they play like this.
Hanging in there with the defending national champions. A 10-point ball game as we go to the 4th in Ann Arbor on Big Ten Saturday night. Mr. Brightside, a tradition here at the Big House, and now with the new lights that we saw through the light show last year into this year, every night game a little extra special. That was moments ago as we get set for the start of the 4th quarter. Warren stays in there along with Mullings, and a first down from the 48-yard line. Fans here waiting for an explosive play of some kind. Mullings has just been chewing up yards the hard way. That one goes for 4.
Well, now you wonder about the conditioning level of this Fresno State defense. They have played valiantly, right? They don't have the same kind of depth that Michigan has. It's warm. We've already seen one defensive player helped off with cramps. They got a tough fourth quarter ahead of them, and it's now a 2-score game with Michigan on their side of the 50-yard line.
Ironically, special teams coordinator John Baxter said 75, 70 degrees actually feels chilly for us. They're used to 100 plus. Mullins gets crunched. Langley coming over, forced the incompletion, and sets up 3rd down and 6.
Well, again, just no threat by the wide receivers of this Michigan offense. They're not afraid of it. You look at tonight, how much better they have been. Again, they were pretty good when they started at 8-1. It was in that 3-game slide at the end of the year where their defense really took some hits. But they have played masterfully tonight against both the run and the pass, and they have held up physically to the style that Michigan plays football.
But Loveland in the slot here on 3rd down and 6. He's got a career-high 7 receptions. Do they go to him again? Warren over the middle. No, instead, it's Samaj Morgan.
Well, that's what they needed, right? I mean, they just have not been able to get the ball in the hands of any of their wide receivers. For Morgan, I think his 2nd catch, and a big one on 3rd down there for the conversion. Good protection, good throw by Davis Warren. A new set of downs.
Well, Samaj Morgan is looked at as a guy that needs to step up as that go-to option. He is an elite athlete. He comes in with a swagger every single day. He's super confident and looking to take that step now in his 2nd season. Orji back in. He'll run behind that offensive line and just dive forward for 3.
Well, what a play by the safety, Dean Clark. He's from my neck of the woods, played at Massillon Washington High School, started out at Kent State and transferred to Fresno State. But watch him fill on this play on the outside. He's right up by the line of scrimmage. And again, these safeties are excellent tacklers on the back end of this Fresno State defense.
Clark was the 2nd leading tackler on the team last season. Voted a captain at Kent State in 2021. Played 35 games there before coming over to Fresno. Orji stays in on back-to-back plays and then dirts that one to Morris.
Now, we haven't seen him on back-to-back plays, right? And they kept him in for 2 in a row. They called a little rollout pass. And just not a good throw into the ground. And again, I mean, he is a supreme athlete with a very strong arm. And the coach has said he has really developed from the time he got here till now as a passer. He was a 54% completion guy in high school as a senior, right? That doesn't cut it in college football. So his development and consistency as a passer is where he needs to go, because he's got a lot of other intangible tools.
3rd and 7, and Loveland can't haul it in.
Well, we haven't seen him drop many balls. This is a good throw by Davis Warren. And Loveland just not able to corral him. He's working against the safety. It's a good throw, right on target and right on time. And Loveland just whiffs on that one.
So Zvada is going to come back on. He made from 45 and from 53. His career long is 56. This one is 55 yards away, and with a miss would give Fresno State excellent field position. Dome in the holder. Wagner will snap it, and Zavada is perfect. Good from 45, 53, and now 55 to extend this to a 13-point game. They believe in this kid. They said there's no real target line for him. Just send him out and let him do the rest. And so far, he has gotten the job done on every angle. We'll be playing a Mountain West team, and a very good one at that, following week as they take on Boise State. Obviously so much expectation after a fantastic season last year, and Dan Lanning coming back once again, bringing in Dylan Gabriel. Time now for the upcoming schedule around the Big Ten, presented by Discover. Next week, Texas right here at the Big House, number 4 versus number 9, taking on Michigan. Noon Eastern on Fox. Iowa State taking on number 25 Iowa on CBS, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Colorado and Nebraska, that's Big Ten Saturday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern on NBC and Peacock. And then on Peacock, Boise State taking on number 3 Oregon Saturday, 10 p.m. Eastern time. Mountain West Conference, a team that is expected at very minimum to compete for the top, many believe to win the conference.
Yeah, UNLV also picked up there. They're blanking Houston tonight so far.
Sherrod dumped in the backfield by Rolder.
Well, again, they had just dominated the run defense now. Take a look at this play. Rolder just comes from the outside. He's an inside linebacker lined up on the end of the line of scrimmage. And they have just negated this running game. So far for the game now, 17 total yards rushing, -8 in the second half.
And that makes it 2nd and 14 for Mikey Keene. Good time here, lofts it, sideline, Keene in the bucket for Moss. Guarded by Johnson, Moss takes advantage and he's hurt.
Excellent coverage by Will Johnson, but a perfect throw. It looks like Moss is cramping up as well. Beautiful throw by, probably the best throw Mikey Keene has made all night. Right over the outside shoulder. It's a slot fade, working on Will Johnson, the best cover guy, and perfectly placed football.
What a catch by Moss, who is just shown to be so talented. That one goes for 28 yards.
Now they're allowed to have a little chicken fighting in there, a little infighting with the hands, as long as neither player pushes off or extends, and that didn't happen. And a perfect throw by Mikey Keene.
Jalen Moss down. We'll check on him when we come back. Fresno State driving. Moments ago, Jalen Moss, sophomore, running off on his own power. A productive day. 6'1", 175. We've seen the physical attributes. 6 catches, 97 yards for Moss. Keene has only thrown for 130 total. And we know what he did last year. He's looking for his 3rd career 100-yard game here against one of the more impressive defenses in the country.
Yeah, Jalen Moss and Colston Loveland have been the 2 most productive players on the field so far tonight for the 2 teams.
Can Fresno State cash in on the explosive play? Fake it. Keene rolling. Keene delivers. Caught. Delana.
A nice throw rolling to his left. It wasn't open right away. Watch him kind of buy a little bit more time. Just kind of drifts until his man was open, and then delivers a nice throw rolling to his left.
Picks up 15 and now getting close to field goal range. This team needs touchdowns and they need them quick. Here comes the rush. Barham in pursuit. Keene's got to get rid of it, and he does. Oh, it's caught. No, they're going to roll it incomplete.
Yeah, the last play was a design rollout. This was not. This was a rollout because of pressure. Keene almost comes up with another completion.
Ooh.
I'll tell you what, that looks like a catch. The ball did not move. It can touch the ground, but it didn't move. His arms were under it. He never lost control. That's going to be overturned and be a catch.
That looks pretty clear, and they will review this. Nathan Acevedo goes down low.
What an effort. Nice job by Mikey Keene extending the play, but then both hands underneath the football.
So this is going to continue what is probably the best offensive drive of the day right now for Fresno State. Look at this extension by Mikey Keene.
Yeah, Barham is coming on the pressure, and we know how he can run, and Keene eludes him and then makes another nice throw on the move.
And they're attacking Will Johnson right now. They're not scared of his side of the field. That's what we normally see. We expected maybe Fresno State would throw away from Johnson. They're going right at the star corner.
Well, they went after him with a double move, the little slant and go, and they had it, but it was a bad throw by Mikey Keene. Would have been a touchdown. They desperately need a touchdown. I agree with you. That they can't be thinking field goal here.
Well, there's still a lot of time if they do get in the end zone.
Yeah,
and the way
absolutely.
their defense has played, you got to feel like they're going to have opportunities. But we go back to the end of the second quarter. They had a little over a minute left.
After the review, the ruling on the field has changed. The wide receiver did complete the process of the catch at the 18 line. The ball is placed at the 19-yard line. First down and 10. Game clock will start on the ready for play.
So at the 19-yard line, another look at the excellent grab.
Little trick play coming up right here. Now Mikey Keene is in the ball game, but he is out as a wide receiver. This is Mikey Keene right here.
They got their backup quarterback Joshua Wood in the game, 6'2", 202 pounds. Two quarterbacks in there. Wood takes it himself. Really had it stripped.
Page out of the Alex Orji playbook right there.
And then a little extra after the fact.
Bring in the backup quarterback, have him run the football. 6'2", 202 pounds. Got positive yards.
Go back to that decision again. End of the first half. Fresno State gets a stop on third down with a little over a minute remaining on the clock, and Tim Skipper does not take any of his 3 timeouts. Eventually goes in with a 7-point deficit. Jalen Moss matched up with Will Johnson. 5 on the clock. Keene surveys, goes the other way. Oh, it's knocked away. Hall with a big hit.
And that ball was in the air a long time, right? They're lined up on the right hash. He's throwing it to the left sideline. The ball stays in the air a long time. And by the time it got there, Hall was able to time it up and put a helmet right on the football. A little bit behind the intended receiver Sharp, but a nice play by Hall.
Third down of this half, looking for their first conversion. Empty on 3rd and 8. Keene gets rid of it. It's caught. It's Sharp to the end zone. Touchdown, Fresno State.
Fresno State touchdown.
Well, nice job by Mikey Keene, because there is an unblocked guy. This is zero coverage, no safety. So one-on-one right here, but this guy comes free. Mikey Keene knows he's got to get rid of the football, and he delivers a strike while backpedaling, and the receiver does the rest. Excellent play against full pressure, and Fresno State gets their first touchdown of the ball game.
One of the 2 FCS transfers gets into the end zone, and the extra point from Lynch makes this a 6-point game, which is critical with 10:06 to play.
Outstanding drive by Mikey Keene, making plays on the run, and then this one, the touchdown against an unblocked defender, gets the ball out on time, on target, and the defender just overextended. Jaden McBurrow out of position to make a tackle, and no safety help because it was full blitz, zero coverage.
And this is where we go back to that experience for Mikey Keene, and understanding the situation, understanding how much time is still on the clock, and settling down the rest of his offense, some of which is inexperience, but we saw a number of guys step up and make plays on that drive.
And also understanding, look, the first half was not my best, right? I have not had the kind of game that I wanted to have coming in here, but that drive was outstanding. 50% in the first half, 7 of 10 since then, and that last drive and the throws he made against pressure, rolling to his left, rolling to his right, and then with a inside blitz coming right at him, as good as you can do as a quarterback.
Drive goes 7 plays, 75 yards in 2 minutes and 37 seconds. It was all set up by the 28-yard catch by Jalen Moss. And eventually Sharp does the rest on his second grab of the day to bring Fresno State back within a score.
And a lot of time still left in the ball game with 10:06, so Michigan can't just take the air out of the football. They've got to be aggressive too. It's a 1-score game.
Mullins going to take it out. Mullins sandwiched, and down at the 25. All right, you look at this Michigan offense here, Todd. We've seen both quarterbacks. How hard is it to get a rhythm for both of these guys right now with the way they're being subbed back and forth?
Well, they're not asking them to do the same thing. No, I mean, the guy who's playing the game for the most part is Davis Warren, right? He's the guy that they're throwing, handing off. When Orji does come in, yes, he threw the touchdown pass, but he's primarily in there to run the football and be a running threat. And he hasn't had as many snaps, nearly as many, as Davis Warren. Again, I say Donovan Edwards and this offensive line, it's their time to shine right now.
Edwards on first down. Collision after a gain of 2. Good look at this new offensive line for Michigan. Sharon Moore said even those Joe Moore award-winning offensive line groups in years past, the last couple years with him as the O-line coach, they needed to improve through the season. He expects this group to do the same. Each week get a little bit better. And this is a huge moment for them to prove themselves.
It's the hardest group to develop, right? I mean, because you have to have 5 guys working as a unit in cohesion, and that takes time, especially against live competition.
Moore said to win a championship, you need 10. And a nice tackle there by Braca. Again, these safeties making plays. And Sharon Moore knows what it means to play that position. Never a starter at Oklahoma, but he was a key piece to those teams that were excellent in the Big 12.
Miles Hinton, the starting left tackle, got up hobbling a little bit 2 plays ago. He's still kind of limping on the left side on this big 3rd down and short play. Orji in at quarterback.
3rd down and 1. Orji keeps. He's got a lot of space and a first down.
Really sold the fake. The Fresno's defense thought he had given the ball off. He was patient with the fake. He rode it in for a long time before pulling, and then he had a crease. Watch how long he holds his fake. Hold, hold, hold. Commit that guy on the end of the line. That was Braca, the safety, and that's why it opened up. He was not impatient with that play, and it set up beautifully.
5 carries, 32 yards to go along with a passing touchdown for Orji. Mullings. Dragging tacklers with him. Big gain of 21. Kalel Mullings. Power.
A really nice job of running power football. Watch Bredesen leading up on the middle linebacker. Good blocking at the point of attack. And then just the strength and power of Kalel Mullings.
Longest play of the day for Michigan. Mullings up to 71 on the ground. But Loveland in motion on first down. Mullings cuts. Mullings chewing up yards. They cannot stop him.
Well, this is the first time in the ball game that Fresno State's defense has looked a little bit fatigued to me. They're not getting off blocks on this possession. Credit the offensive line and tight end group of Michigan and the hard running of Kalel Mullings. But some of those 2- and 3-yard gains are springing for more here on this drive.
86 yards on the night, showcasing this offensive line here in the 4th quarter. This is what Michigan did all last year. Run it down your throat, down the stretch to end these games. And Mullings is too tough to bring down, get 6 more.
Well, and again, Colston Loveland, watch this block. This is an insert. He's going to come and lead right here on the inside linebacker. We know what kind of a receiver he is. Watch him block. Likes to put his face on people and block, be physical. And right now, this offensive line and the tight ends have the most juice they've had in the game. They're feeling it right now, and they want to drive this thing all the way into the end zone.
That's what makes Colston Loveland extra special. Sharon Moore loves the fact that he loves to hit and he loves to block on top of his all-world receiving capabilities. Play action. Warren over the middle. It's Loveland in stride. Loveland stays up. Touchdown, Michigan. 18 yards for Pater for number 18, and the first career passing touchdown for Davis Warren.
You run and run the ball with success. You force the defense to commit bodies and play man-to-man, and then you go to your go-to guy, Colston Loveland.
Zavada makes it a 13-point Michigan lead.
Hard-nosed running, now you throw, and Colston Loveland is too big and too powerful for R.J. Regan, the nickelback, and Michigan in the end zone for a security touchdown.
Scoring affair there. It was a low-scoring affair into the fourth quarter here, but back-to-back touchdown drives. 7 plays, 75-yard drive for Fresno State resulted in the touchdown pass from Keene. Then a 7-play, 75-yard drive for Michigan results in the touchdown pass from Davis Warren to Colston Loveland. Now up to 8 catches, 87 yards, and the touchdown. Doman is going to send it away with 5:43 to play, and now Fresno State is going to have to play with a little bit more urgency in these last couple of minutes here in Ann Arbor. Jerome Moore, his first game as the full-time head coach here at Michigan. All the players were so excited for him, and what he brings is a continuation of what Jim Harbaugh built the last couple of years, but energy, excitement, a player's coach through and through, as that one will sail into the end zone for a touchback.
Well, the Michigan coaches gush about this guy. I think he's the best tight end in the country. He can do it all. He likes to block. He likes the physical characteristics, but you can put him out as a wideout and work on a corner, and he can win. And then you can put him inside in the slot, and he can beat another defensive back and win again. He creates separation. He's just so big, strong, and athletic, and he has great ball skills catching the football. He is a quarterback's best friend, and he has shown it tonight. 8 catches, 87 yards in that last touchdown.
Sharon Moore compared him to Travis Kelce at media days this year, and that right now is feeling fairly similar, and that could be a nail in the coffin. Johnson comes away with it. Quentin Johnson on another tip drill. Second interception for Mikey Keene, and the second takeaway for this Michigan defense.
Yeah, another high throw by Mikey Keene. Off the fingertips. Is it catchable? Yes. But if the ball is lower on the numbers, it's a completion. Instead, it's a tip ball, and it ends up, we think, is an interception. Nope,
maybe not.
That one's not going to be an interception. Hands were under, ball bounced off the turf, and Fresno State luckily is going to maintain possession of this one.
Yeah, I think Quentin Johnson might have to bring those sunglasses back.
Yeah, looks good on him, but he's got to put them away.
He's rocking them. So Chef Cervinsky and this crew will take another look, but this feels like a pretty open and shut case that hit the ground before Johnson could secure possession. And this should be a quick review. Yep, I think he just realized it. Sunglasses back in the case. And the Fresno State offense realizes it themselves as Johnson asks for his helmet.
It's worth a try, right?
Yeah.
Sell it, just sell it as much as you can.
I've been told if you walk with confidence, people generally believe.
Yeah.
But a sigh of relief for Fresno State, still within 2 possessions here. Rod Moore, who was voted a captain this year despite the injury. Yeah, he didn't love it, but still happy for his team. He's iced out himself.
After review, the ruling has changed. The ball touched the ground, therefore it's an incomplete pass. The ball go back to the 25-yard line. It'll be second down.
So Johnson back out there. Another look at Rod Moore. And Sharon Moore, I love the quote he said. It's like having another Coach Moore on the sideline. And just his presence, despite him not being on the field, it feels like it means so much for this defensive unit.
Says he sits in the front row of the meeting rooms every day. He's taking notes. He's talking to other players. He's helping them. You know, he is as engaged as he could possibly be without being able to play.
He's going to be out for a while as Keene delivers. Oh, this one is picked off. Makari Page looking to take it the other way. Dumped down shy of the 20, a 20-yard return, and Michigan just takes it right back. Flag is down.
I don't know if they're going to get TJ Guy for a penalty or not, but another high throw by Mikey Keene. Got away with it the play before, but this time he didn't. We have something on the sideline as well. I mean, that, I don't know, Terry, that doesn't look like enough to draw a flag. It's not roughing the passer. There's a flag in the backfield, and there's a flag over by the Fresno State sideline as well. So we probably have a couple infractions to work through here.
Well, Page has taken Johnson's sunglasses now.
Yeah.
And this defense, we saw last year how great they were returning interceptions. That was something they worked on the last couple of years. They actually studied Iowa's defensive tape because of how much of a strength that was for them.
The passer,
wow.
Number 42. 15-yard penalty is forced in the previous spot, includes automatic first down.
So negate 2 consecutive interceptions. This one, TJ Guy.
I think this is a very weak call.
Terry, what do you think?
I agree with you, Todd. You know, there's a slight shove. He doesn't punish him. He doesn't really knock him down. He just pushes. Quarterback kind of seems to fall down on his own as he's looking downfield. I'm with you, Todd. This is not a foul.
So ticky-tack, and I would say that the fans here disagree with the eventual call made. So now 2 signs of life.
Yeah.
The jaws of life in some ways for this Fresno State offense after what appeared to be final nails for Michigan's defense to secure this win.
And now what was the other penalty? Because look where Fresno State is getting the football. There had to be something in addition.
It says
to the roughing the passer.
Barham was penalized on top of it.
So a dead ball foul possibly. Wow.
So as a result, ball on the 45. It was unsportsmanlike on Barham after the play. That easily could have been a false start.
Movement by the right tackle.
And it was.
This will come back.
Prior to the ball being snapped, false start. Offense number 75. Other penalty.
Braylon Nelson. Yep. So what has been, this is the unsportsmanlike from Barham. Sherrod gets up. He and Barham go
you know
at
what?
it a little bit.
Sherrod took Barham's towel.
Yep.
What did Barham do there?
Keene outside, caught. Sherrod, shifty, spins into Michigan territory, stays on his feet extra yards after the fact. Page finally brings him down, but he gets to the 39.
Well, new life is right for Fresno State. 4:45 and the clock moving. They've got to have a little sense of urgency because they're down 2 scores here.
Quick pass on.
Wow, that's a horse collar there.
And there it is. The flag comes in. It was the catch and run from Azevedo.
Of all the penalties they've had here against them in this drive, that's the only one that looks legit. Face mask and behind the back. I mean, he could have called either one.
Michigan had 1 penalty this entire game up until this drive. They now have 3.
Face mask grabbing a helmet opening. Defense number 42. 15-yard penalty results.
And that's the second on TJ Guy, who has been expected to take a major step for this defense this year. So the continuous opportunities for Fresno State, and now you've got to punch it in. Red zone opportunity, 4:34 to play. You've got all 3 timeouts. Your defense has played outstanding football today. Can Mikey Keene, the veteran, get the job done here? Keene looking to throw. Pressure felt. Lost it to the sideline. Another completion goes to Beecham.
A really nice design. They had Beecham over there with Jalen Moss, and Michigan was more concerned with Moss, who kind of sold the screen. You see both defenders take steps towards Moss, and Beecham opened up for the completion.
It'll be first and goal. Oh, picked off!
Too many times.
Will Johnson, one of the best quarterbacks in the country, seals it for Michigan. Pick six, touchdown Wolverines.
The play before this, they faked the screen to Moss and threw to Beecham.
It was a touchdown. After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 2, that reinforced and then ensuing kickoff.
86 yards for some sunglasses and a W here in Ann Arbor.
You know, you said it a little while ago. Fresno State was not afraid to go after Will Johnson. They've gone after him a couple times. They've hit a few completions. He's been close to a couple interceptions. That time, he read the wide receiver screen to Moss, jumped it, guessed right, and took it to the house. Don't poke the bear too many times, you know. He read this right away and stepped in front of the throw and made an All-American kind of play.
Preseason first team AP All-American. Preseason Big Ten honoree. First team All Big Ten last year. Second team by the media. The coaches knew just how special he was. His defensive coordinator, Wink Martindale, knows just how special he is. And Jerome Moore's head coach knows that he is one of the heart and souls of this defense. He said if juniors could be voted as captains, this guy, Will Johnson, would have been a captain this year. And we see what he does on the field. It's what he does off the field on top of it.
Well, he just was in perfect position. He read this. He guessed right. They tried to fake the screen the play before, and they hit the tight end for a nice completion. And this time, Will Johnson was ready to make a play. Mikey Keene got a couple interceptions back. That one, he did not get back.
That was the ultimate ball don't lie finisher to the drive. After the soft penalty on TJ Guy that extended it and really got it back to Fresno State after what looked like a second consecutive interception. It's Johnson that finishes it off, and now with 3:57, time is basically run out for the Bulldogs. Michigan last year had the #1 defense in the country. So many of the numbers supported just how dominant they were every single week. Didn't allow a touchdown defensively until the second half of the regular season. And they proved to be dominant once again as we go to KT.
Well, guys, Will Johnson has been leaning heavily on the experience and the knowledge of Wink Martindale. He asked Martindale, who's the best defensive back you ever coached? And Wink's response, Michigan legend Charles Woodson. Johnson told me he's gotten close to Woodson over the years, especially wearing his #2 jersey. He said, I want to follow in his footsteps. Any chance I can get to pick his brain, I take advantage of it. And that includes advice on training. Johnson is known to train like an NFL player. And as you can see, the Hall of Famer's mentorship has been paying off.
Well, he wears that #2 because that's the guy he idolized, and he has certainly played to that level for this Michigan defense. Fresno State is looking to find anything they can here as Beecham is chopped down after a gain of 9. Fresno will hurry up with Keene. Sherrod split to the outside, playing through that ankle injury, and he's played a number of snaps tonight. Keene feeling it, delivers a strike, and it's caught by James.
Well, Michigan's defense did what they wanted to do in this game, which was make them one-dimensional. They stopped the run, 20 yards rushing total for Fresno State, and then they put pressure on Mikey Keene, and they were opportunistic in the back end, forcing 2 interceptions.
Again, with the new college football playoff expanded, this was easily the toughest game on the schedule for Fresno State, but we see just how good they can be. Their offense maybe hasn't looked like we expected to through this season, but their defense was stout, really start to finish, as that one's knocked away. We mentioned the comparisons, Will Johnson and Charles Woodson, the iconic Rose Bowl photo from '98, recreated this past year from Will Johnson after they beat Alabama.
Will Johnson's dad, Dion, was a three Big Ten championships during his time here playing at Michigan.
And a soft spot for Delana on a first down into Michigan territory. $15-yard pickup. Keene up to 230 yards. For Fresno State, Sherrod can continue to get healthier. We've got the experience of the captain Keene. We've seen the explosiveness from Jalen Moss. Oh, look out! Down goes Keene. Josiah Stewart with another sack.
Well, again, when you take the run completely away, it's just one-on-one pass blocking against outstanding edge rushers and dominant interior guys. And Josiah Stewart, the transfer from Coastal Carolina, with another sack in the ball game. That's the 3rd sack of the game for this Michigan defense.
And that'll take us to the 2-minute timeout here in the 4th quarter. Number 9 Michigan getting the big-time finisher from their stud Will Johnson at corner. Their defense dominant again, and a 20-point lead with 2 minutes to play here at the Big House. That one, and they're going down the stretch. This one is just about at its conclusion. 2 minutes remaining, a 2nd and 24 for Fresno State, who fought valiantly here and gave Michigan quite the test to open the season.
And they forced a lot of the frontline guys from Michigan to play a lot of snaps, which may come into play next week when Texas comes to town.
Swing it, Delana. Good blocking in front, trying to weave his way through, and gets it back to the 45.
I mean, Fresno State will not face an offensive line or a defensive line nearly as good as what they saw tonight. And they held their own. Tim Skipper can fly home and say, you know what, we played well. If we play this way and eliminate some of the turnovers, some of the mistakes, we'll be just fine with the rest of our schedule.
That's what you hear from the Michigan offense all the time, is how much they've been sharpened by having to go up against this Michigan defense every day in practice. Fresno State getting that taste. Sherrod on the ground, picks up a 1.5 yards. Derek Moore adds a tackle.
And I think if you're Michigan, look, you knew Fresno State was going to fight. That they were not going to be afraid to come in here and play. They pushed back. Your offensive line, it took them almost 3.5 quarters before your offensive line kind of took control of the game. And your defense was extremely stout. Last year they led the nation in scoring defense, 10.4 points per game, and they're under that tonight with a new cast of characters and a new defensive coordinator in week number 1.
Lawrence will punt it away. Final 30 seconds here, and gets a clean one. That's been one of the best developments for Fresno State, is this 22-year-old true freshman in his first ever organized football game, getting off clean punts all the way through, pins them inside the 20. Next week, Big Ten Saturday night, heads to Lincoln. Deion Sanders and Colorado take on Nebraska. Pre-game coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern on NBC and Peacock. Todd and I are going to be in Brazil for the Packers and the Eagles on Friday. Those two men right there will be calling the game, Paul Burmeister and Colt McCoy. Yeah, they're ready.
And they're going to have a fun one. I'll tell you what, Lincoln will be electric. How good is Shadur Sanders and Travis Hunter? That is going to be exciting to watch. Dylan Raiola, the freshman quarterback, played well today. See him in that big stage next week.
Well, on this big stage here tonight, Davis Warren, the former walk-on, who has been through so much through his young life, makes his first start at Michigan, and it's a victory. 30-10, the defending champions start the season with a win. Mutual respect between these two head coaches. Tim Skipper in his first game since taking over for Jeff Tedford, coached the bowl game last year. Now in the interim role, Sharon Moore, first game as the full-time head coach, and continued winning and excellence for the Wolverines tonight. Let's send it down to KT.
All right, Coach, congratulations. Your official first victory as head coach of the University of Michigan. What did you learn about your group tonight?
Yeah, tough, gritty performance. I thought our defense did an outstanding job. Gave them a couple big plays, but that's going to happen. Offense got to groove at the end. We've got to be more consistent. We just got to do the little things right. But overall, you're always happy to get a win.
So you used the rotation at quarterback again. Davis Warren, what did he show you in this win tonight?
He did a really good job just managing the offense and doing things the right way. Super happy for him, and we'll keep using him, keep using Orgy, but I thought those guys did a really good job.
And getting back to the defense, an electrifying play there to end the game from Will Johnson. What does he continue to show you as a leader in this team?
Yeah, he just gets better. He loves football, he works hard at it, and he just continues to get better.
Coach, thanks so much for your time.
Appreciate it, thank you.
All right, Catherine, Sharon Moore with the victory. Michigan starts where they finished last year in the win column. 30-10 over Fresno State. We'll be back to wrap it all up here from Ann Arbor. Big Ten Saturday night, week 1. 30-10 win for Michigan here in Ann Arbor, and the tight end, one of the major storylines. Colston Loveland, a star, and moments ago he stood with KT.
Colston, congratulations on the victory. You're the only returning starter on offense for this group. So what did you learn as the game went on with who you've got on offense this season?
Yeah, you know, they say only returning starter, but we got Dono, Brad, we got a lot of guys that have played a lot of ball. So obviously it's different, lost a lot of guys, but I love the crew we have now. It was good to finally see us out here against someone else, you know. I think we left a lot out there, obviously. Would have loved to play a lot better, but, you know, came out with the win, which is huge. On to next week. Gotta prepare big time next week.
Davis Warren and Alex Orgy split the responsibility at quarterback. How was that communication with you, with having two quarterbacks at the helm?
Yeah, I mean, we love both those guys. Dogs, they do everything right. So whoever was out there, we knew we were in good hands. And just big shout out to those guys. And they're so respectful with each other. There's no beef. Cheer each other on, and it's pretty cool to see.
You told me this week you wanted to be more of a vocal leader on offense. With what Fresno State was presenting on defense for you guys, it was challenging at times. So how vocal did you have to be in this game?
Yeah, very vocal. But like, you know, everyone knows we knew what we left out there. We knew the things we did wrong. You know, we came back, watched the iPads, tried to fix things. But yeah, I was just making sure everyone, you know, keep our composure. You know, we'd like to score more points, but let's keep our composure. One drive at a time, one play at a time, and we did that.
Colston, best of luck next week against Texas. Congrats.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right, Catherine. Awesome stuff as always. So Michigan gets the victory tonight. You heard Colston. I mean, this was the big point that we thought going into this game. Not a lot of returning starters, but a lot of returning experience, and it never felt like they panicked today.
No, they never panicked. I mean, Fresno State was a game opponent. I mean, they really brought the game to Michigan, and it wasn't really until the end, you know, the last half of the fourth quarter where Michigan really flexed on them and kind of established the line of scrimmage. Now, their defense, you know, we knew their defense was going to be great. That defensive front is as good as any in college football. They're going to keep them in every game. It'll be up to the offense, the two quarterbacks, to continue to develop and grow to see how far this team can go.
It was the defense scoring, as they did so many times last year, one of the best in the country in doing so. And Will Johnson with the sealer moments ago with Catherine Tappan.
Well, congratulations on the victory tonight. Take me through the pick six. What did you see on the play, and how satisfying was that at the end of the game for you?
I really did. They had ran that play a few times before in the game, and we called a good call for it, so I just wanted to go out there and make a play. It just felt good to finally make a play because I didn't feel like I had a good day.
And it must feel good, too, when the defense comes through as big as they did in a game like this where Fresno presented some challenges at times.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was our first game out here. Just getting to feel with each other, and we're excited we got the win.
You told me this week you want to be a player that your teammates depend on. Where was that best on display tonight?
I definitely got a lot of room to improve. Go back this week, focus on getting better and getting ready for Texas.
Well, thanks so much for the time.
Thank you.
And that's obviously the big next step now for Michigan. You've got number 4 Texas coming in, and they look strong today. It's a team that was in the college football playoff last year, a team that wanted to fight for that national championship and battled with Washington in the semifinal. You know you're going to have to be prepared. Again, the experience of this team is there. The offense needs to take that next step to compete.
Yeah, I mean, the defense is real, okay? The defense is, again, whether it's Texas, whether it's Fresno State, whoever they play, Ohio State, the defense is going to keep them in every game. The offense has to grow, and most times your most growth comes from game 1 to game 2, and the offense needs to do that. Not just the quarterbacks, the wide receivers. They were pretty quiet tonight, too. Outside of Colston Loveland, not a lot of action in the passing game, so that has to improve for this Michigan team as well.
I did love Will Johnson who had the big pick 6.
Yeah.
Wasn't my best day.
Yeah.
That's the mentality of this team.
That's
it
right.
feels like every time they break through one glass ceiling, they want to get to the next one. And Sharon Moore, a player's coach, gets his first official victory as the full-time head coach here in Ann Arbor. They delight their home fans once again with a 30-10 victory, another win in the Big House. Coming up next, except on the West Coast, your local news. Don't miss an action-packed football lineup next week, starting with the Ravens and the Chiefs on Thursday night on NBC and Peacock, then the Packers and Eagles live from Brazil Friday exclusively on Peacock. Saturday, it's a quadruple header highlighted by Northern Illinois, Notre Dame at 3:30 on NBC. Colorado taking on Nebraska at 7:30 Eastern on NBC. For Catherine Tappan, Todd Blackledge, Terry McCauley, our entire NBC crew, I'm Noah Eagle saying so long from Ann Arbor, where Michigan starts the season with another victory in their title defense.